Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, got to fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fightful, better fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
Morning. It is noon Eastern, sometime somewhere in the world. It's 9 a.m. Pacific time. Reg's neck of the woods. You know what it is. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsay. Of course, I am joined by Righteous Reg. What's going on with you?
It's your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. He's the media man. It's Saturday morning. It's rainy out in Oakland, and it's Grapsody. What a time to be alive, Phil Lindsay. It's absolutely insane outside. I've just been watching YouTube and escaping from the world. It's been great. How about you?
Yeah, a lot of news this week has been sort of what I expected. So
a couple of curveballs, even like, oh, I didn't expect that one, but all right.
Yeah, I've been trying to unplug from some of this stuff because it's a lot, but rest in peace and condolences, of course, to anybody affected by the plane crash. Terrible stuff. Also very terrible that instead of coming together as a country and extending condolences and well wishes to people, people immediately started politicizing this and being racist. So I don't know.
I didn't think that we could get there, and then we just keep getting there. And I'm like, this is what? All right. Oh, black people did this? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, not quite the time. And even when I've seen people taking the time to respond to him and say, hey, that guy's wrong, it's like, yeah, but there were kids on that plane that are no longer here. I feel like that's more important than that.
Way more important.
But
bunch of kids. And then the like I said, crashes, because yesterday another plane crash unfortunately happened in Philadelphia. It's just, I don't know what's happening here. This feels crazy.
Yeah. Wild. But yeah, hopefully everybody other than that has had a good week of wrestling. Hopefully pro wrestling has given people somewhat of an escape from a lot of this stuff that's going on in this crazy world we're in.
It has for me. I watched a couple of GCW shows. Shout out to the homie in GCW. They were in France, which was crazy. The crowd response was very positive, of course. Crowd was like a regular GCW show, but in France with the crazy chants and stuff. Then they did a show last night because, wrestling weekends, they always have stuff going on in Indianapolis, and that was really dope. Shout out to Effie, the new GCW world champion. He's out there repping that, out there being that. Shout out to the homie Jay Rose. I think the show is today. Actually, let me pull that up because they have this really great match, Naptown Pro in Indianapolis. I don't know if anybody's out in Nap. Oh, yeah, February 1st. This match, though, Philip Lindsay, I saw it on Darius Carter's Facebook page. Damn, Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter in so long. I'm like, what is Twitter?
Yeah. It feels like it takes longer to load when I open it sometimes. Like, what's going on with this app?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it at all. Oh, yeah, so it's happening Saturday, February 1st, as part of NAP's Combat Crossroads, taking place before the Rumble. So if you're in Indianapolis, definitely check this out. Celebration of Black Indie Wrestling in memorial of Trey D. You guys know Trey D. We love wrestling. They played a big part in Naptown. But it's a championship summit four-way. It's Myron Reed, the Black Wrestling Matters champion. Shug D, the Pan-African World Diaspora champion. Darius Carter, the Ashai world champion, and Ashe world champion. I can never say that right. And then Isaiah Broner, the Naptown world champion. 4 black world champions facing off in a championship match. Insane. It's happening on IWTV also if you can't be in Indianapolis, but I want to definitely send out love to the homies in Naptown. That sounds amazing. That's just one of the amazing matches that they're going to have going on there. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Myron Reed, dog. Myron Reed was on the GCW show last night against Masha Slamovich. Dope match, of course. And I'm like, Phil, we say it every time. Why is Myron Reed an unsigned wrestler? What is this?
I don't get it, man. I don't know why no one has signed this man yet. He's amazing. I don't get it.
Every time I see him, I'm reminded when his entrance happens, I'm like, dude, what's happening? And then the match happens and I'm like, what? And then I see TV and I'm like, oh, it's just so everybody can rip off all of his stuff. That's not why they're not signing him. Maybe the wrestlers are going to the promoters and be like, don't sign that fool. I got like half of his spots in my repertoire. I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but somebody's got to sign this guy. I'm seeing a lot of people in our chat talking about this Joey Janela video. Have you seen this?
I have not. What happened?
I guess Joey got jumped at his merch table at one of these cons, which it clearly
Just
it
a bit.
It's clearly a work, but just everything about it. I believe it was another wrestler. I think it was Dylan Bostic. Flips his table over on his head, and he's just standing there looking like, "What's going on?" Megan Bain is like standing next to him, like, and then they just proceed to jump him. And Dylan Bostic was like, "Yeah, finally caught him lacking, gang shit." I was like,
okay.
I was like, "Well, wait a minute. Let's not get in that bag." Which makes me think of this as well before we get into some wrestling stuff. I saw a lot of people abuzz because of this Sexy Red Bruno Mars record. Have you heard this?
I haven't heard the record, but I've seen the hubbaloo that's going around about it. Is that the word to describe it?
Hubbub, I guess.
Hubbub. What's going on with this record, Philip Lindsay?
You might need it to keep this one. It's cool. We didn't need it. It's all right.
Dog, that's the first time I've ever heard this about Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars has never needed to keep one. Like, he is the hit. Like, if Bruno's on it, we're out of here. What happened here?
It's not that the song itself is bad. Like, Bruno is Bruno, still incredible vocals. Sexy Red is going to continue to give you the ratchet lyrics, even if you don't want them.
Maybe I don't want this, Sexy. Maybe you could. Yeah, I don't want to hear this, I think.
But yeah, no, it feels like, you know how you can tell when they're trying to make one of those records to pop off, and they want it to pop off outside of our bubble. This feels like, let's try to make kind of a crossover record for Sexy Red with a big guy like Bruno Mars. Lady Gaga's in the video and all this stuff, and it's just like, I don't know about this. One of the lines from this thing, and as soon as I heard it, I was ready to cut it off. I said, all right, Bruno Mars, and at one point it's like, yeah, pussy so good, make me want to throw up a set. They're kind of trying to hit like this. Let's go. Change your facial expressions and completely threw me.
What? What? Why? What's happening here? So he's trying to do like the second Sexy Red be gang banging. He's trying to do like the crossover thing.
He's trying to do like, Kendrick's got the West Coast sound jumping off now. And it's, man, like, it's Bruno doing that kind of sound, and I'm like, this.
He's chasing the sound.
This doesn't sound natural at all. And I bet you it's gonna get played a lot.
It's Bruno.
Yeah, it's Bruno. It's Sexy Red, but I'm just like, I don't know about this one, guys. Maybe maybe do something else with this one, but wasn't for me.
That's unfortunate because, like I said, Bruno's a hit maker. Like, he usually creates. I mean, he usually borrows from sounds and times, but like not usually current ones. So I guess it's kind of off-putting. And then Sexy Red makes it even more like he was like, I'm gonna make a viral song, and like it's not the way you want to go about this.
it has the same kind of cadence melody as last time that I checked. And that's why I'm saying it has this real like Cali vibe to it, and neither of these artists, it was I'm not,
Neither one
and
of them are from California.
yeah, and this is not going to help some of the people that have thrown some cultural appropriation accusations on Bruno. It's not going to help that at all. I think a lot of people are going to make this out like, oh, so K Dot came out and said it's cool to start doing the West Coast records again, and here you guys come with this like mustard S beat and this like we're gang banging on the box thing. It's like
We're gang banging on the box.
I don't know if we needed that.
He was like, I know this one's gonna go viral too. From the gang banging on the box line. That's crazy, Bruno.
Yeah.
That's just, we came up at a time, Phil, where it's not a game. You don't play with these things. Like,
No.
Still, when I see people crip walking, I'm like, not
You
me.
guys-
I stay away from that. Not really. I'm separated
No.
from that. And like, they try to make it a trend, and like, it's gonna be viral and on TikTok videos now with this line, and like, I don't like that.
Yeah, the fact that words like crashing out and stuff has become like TikTok lingo. I'm like, you guys know what crashing out really means? It ain't the way y'all are using it. Y'all are using that term incorrectly.
There are some people that can't use that term because they were, that's how I always think about it. I'm like, some of this stuff is too deep.
We can chill on some of this. Yeah. I don't know if we needed that one. Bruno, Sexy Red. I believe it's a Sexy Red song because it's mostly Bruno on the hook, and he's got like some little vocals. He raps a little bit on there. That's why I'm like, I don't know, man.
So she went and got her Bruno. She was like, Bruno, I got one for us, and he was like, all right, let's try it.
Well, I haven't looked at the liner notes for it, of course. I would assume that he did some writing on here.
Of course,
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in some way a part of production of it, but I'm telling you, when you hear it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I can tell the sound they're chasing on this. And,
oh God,
yeah.
I knew we were gonna be exploited, but not so quickly and not so big,
You knew it was coming after GNX did well. You knew it's up now. People are gonna start trying to do their West Coast records. Like the Mustard beats are about to be everywhere. It's gonna get nasty.
Like, shout out to Mustard, who's going to be cleaning up right now, but people are going to be gross about it. And it's starting out in a very gross way. Pussy So Good, maybe you want to throw up a set is offensive.
Do it
I'm
sexy,
offended.
do it sexy, do it.
He got the New Jack Swing shit in there too, or what?
Yeah, it's that vibe, bro. Do it sexy, do it sexy, do it.
And they're doing the fucking AC Slater dance and shit. It's like, it's crazy out here. What's going on here, dog? Like, leave us alone. Let us get through the Super Bowl first, and then we're out of here. I saw this this article or something about they want the Super Bowl halftime show to be family friendly, or like some kind of thing, which is definitely a shot at Kendrick Lamar being in the Super Bowl halftime show. And like somebody was like, some comedian was like, oh yeah, be family friendly in the halftime of the show where like these football players are trying to murder each other for a trophy. It's like, oh, don't care about the CTE. That part's fine. It's the dangerous lyrics that are going to happen in the halftime show that I'm worried about. It's going to be nasty next week, Phil. I'm not looking forward to it. The Kendrick performance is going to be sick, but everybody's going to be gross about it.
Oh, we're definitely going to get some think pieces after the Super Bowl, and I am not looking forward to that at all.
I don't want to think. That's where I'm at. I don't want to think.
Yeah. So there you go. You've got something to check out after this. By the way, speaking
Looking forward to it.
Your co-host last week did a watch along for Saturday Night Main Event.
Oh, did you?
I had her watch along while I was watching it, and so if you know, she was in Vegas. And there's always a Denise stream where Denise doesn't get something. And I was looking at the screen like, I don't think that means what you think it means, Denise. Like, I don't know.
What was this one?
So again, in Vegas, there was like this box in her room. I don't know if you've seen this in some hotel rooms in Vegas where it has like this like box with like the condoms in there and like the handcuffs and all this other stuff. And she was like, yeah, it's a sexy box. And so she put it on stream and she was reading it. And she goes, yeah, she said, I don't know if I should keep touching this box on the stream. And I was like,
See, those are the ones I try to just move forward when she says, because I'm like, we can get into this or we cannot. That is crazy.
So I commented at one point to then further the joke, and I said, no. We see you touching that box on stream.
That's crazy.
And so she put it on the screen and was laughing at it like, yeah, I better put this box away. And I was like, I don't think that means what you think it means.
I better put this box away. It's wild.
And I was like, oh, Denise.
I better stop touching this box on stream is so insane, dog. Like, there's layers to how insane that is. And then the box that she's actually touching, it's like, this is crazy. Maybe doing my homegirl Denise there. It's to be her own fault, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I said, man, Denise, I don't know, man. And the fact that she put that chat on screen and she's just like, yeah, I know. And I was like, Denise, hold on.
Yeah, I know. Shout out to the homegirl Denise, probably out in Indianapolis somewhere, I'm guessing at this point. But that's very funny and very Denise-like. Classic her.
Yeah. Speaking of Saturday night main event, Saturday night main event did take place last Saturday after we got out of here, a few hours after we got out of here. I did watch it live. I don't know if I'm going to watch all of these live going forward, man. I might be able to catch up with it later. It feels like this is set in what it is. It's kind of like, hey, let's put big matches on a Saturday, but nothing really changes. There's no title changes. It's just kind of like a house show.
AEW Battle of the Belts.
Yeah, it's similar to that vibe. It's kind of like a house show. It's presented better than Battle of the Belts, but it is kind of those same kind of matches.
It just feels like the concept back then. It's kind of like what we talked about on Ask Grapsody the other day, Phil, when I was talking about ROH Supercard of Honor at WrestleMania weekend. The concept originally represented something different. Like ROH Supercard of Honor used to happen during WrestleMania weekend when there wasn't 50 other independent wrestling shows that you could go to. So specific to that, like that represented that. Saturday night's main event used to come on when WWE and maybe NWA and were on TV once or twice a week, maybe rarely at random times when you had to catch it. It used to be special when it was on Saturday night. It was like, damn, I haven't seen wrestling in a while, blah, blah, blah. But now I just saw wrestling on Netflix on Monday. So it's not as special as it used to be. And they're trying to present it like, we're presenting it to this different crowd, but you're not really, dude. Like, it's your crowd. You're presenting it, your show to your people. So it doesn't feel like anything unique. It's just like another WWE show.
Yeah. I mean, and as I say all the time on Twitter, every time these things come up, or on Blue Sky, really, because I'm not on Twitter as much. But I can't speak for casual fans because I'm not a casual fan. And I hate when people inside the wrestling bubble are like, this is what casual fans want to see. You don't know what a casual fan wants to see because you're not a casual fan.
It's that, yeah. It's like, what? How do you know what they want to see? Because that's not what you are at all. The opposite.
No. So I can't say if this thing appeals to casuals or not. It might. I don't know what the viewership of these things are. It might be working for them. I don't know. But it does seem like a lot of this is tailor-made to their audience. And that's not a bad thing. I just think that, just the format of it, I don't necessarily need to watch all of them live. I if it's on, I'll watch it. But if it's something else on that I kind of want to run to see, might not turn it on every time. But I think they keep trying to treat these things like, look, it's kind of like a mini pay-per-view. And it's not really.
Trash.
Yeah. I mean, but I think you're right with the Battle of the Belts, because that's initially what Battle of the Belts tried to do. Like, look, it's like some extra wrestling on television. It's not quite a pay-per-view, but look, it's pay-per-view X matches, and it's kind of not.
No titles are going to change hands. There's not any real stakes out here.
Yes. Rhea Ripley took on Nia Jax in the opening match. To nobody's surprise, Rhea Ripley is still champion. I thought the match was fine. Again, kind of uneventful. Going into WrestleMania season. Matter of fact, I think that was kind of what made this even more predictable. That a lot of these matches, you can look at them and go, okay, WrestleMania is right around the corner. I don't see Rhea Ripley dropping a belt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even crazier than that, Royal Rumble's happening today. Like it was a week later. You're like, there's nothing crazy going to happen before their giant show in a week.
Yes. And when I thought about it, looking at this, I was like, okay, maybe you could have put one of these matches on Royal Rumble instead of here, because the card for Royal Rumble is only 4 matches. So maybe like one of these championship matches could have gone there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially because there's no women's championship match on this card, but
I don't care about that. I don't care about women.
I didn't say that. From there, we got Braun Breaker taking on Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. Again, this was the match I was looking forward to the most coming into this show because it's Sheamus, it's Braun. I know how they're giving up. And even this match, it was enjoyable. I liked it, but it still kind of felt like kind of by the numbers, very predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, the way they hype these shows up like it's going to be kind of like a pay-per-view, it's not really that.
It doesn't feel like that. The matches, I feel like the first one like kind of had a little bit more exciting energy and like something unpredictable was going to happen, but this one was just like, we have a camera at the house show. You know what I mean?
We brought out the old referee shirts. We brought out the old microphones, the old set and everything. So it's different. Just put a different coat of paint on it.
And the microphones don't really sound that great either, also, for another thing. So just, you know, just saying.
But yeah, this was a good match. I enjoyed it. To nobody's surprise, Braun Breaker did retain. I did not think that when we do finally give Sheamus the Intercontinental title win, I didn't think it was going to happen on Saturday Night Main Event. That feels like something they want to save for a big pay-per-view. That real, chat? I will look that up after we get through this, but this was fine. I think one of the few things that it did feel like they advanced what's going on TV was surprisingly in the Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu stuff. Jacob Fatu has been asserting himself more and more with Solo away. He's been cutting more promos. And I was just saying last night, if you were not familiar with this guy until he came to WWE, boy, you're going to see this guy is a great talker. He is fantastic on the mic, very charismatic. It's not just that he has the look and presentation down. It's not just that he can somehow move like a cruiserweight for his size. Yeah, also very, very good talker.
Yeah. I didn't think that. I keep saying for some reason I thought they were going to make him into like the Umaga type, just like wild fool that doesn't really talk a lot. And I was like, that's going to be such a shame. But like they were immediately like, no, this guy has a big personality. This guy really shines. He's charismatic. We have to present him on the mic too. And it's been coming through. Like that's the best part is he's not like reading lines. It feels like they're like, hey, Jacob, just talk because like you can't like who's going to script that?
Yeah. He's dropping lingo. He's dropping Bay Area lingo on WWE television. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have no idea what he's saying or where it's coming from. But
on NBC, it's crazy.
Yeah, on NBC last night again on SmackDown. That promo he cut last night on SmackDown was great. To no surprise, he's coming out with the gold teeth and everything. Just different vibes, man. But yeah, this match basically ended in a no contest, if I remember correctly. Disqualification, sorry. Pretty much this thing went over and Jacob started beating this guy down in the corner, got out of control. Jacob came out of this looking like a beast. Jacob's the guy, man. I'm telling y'all. There's a reason why some people were worried he was going to overshadow Solo. You couldn't let him talk that much when he's standing next to Solo. And he still got the I love you Solo thing over. And seeing this guy here, this used to be the thing that Braun did to everybody else. He used to be the monster that beat somebody down and came out of this looking great. He came out of this, I thought, looking like $1,000,000 and then came out on SmackDown again, talking that talk. Loved it.
Yeah, they did the favorite WWE bit of you think Jacob's gonna leave, but then he comes back, hits another moonsault. Think he's gonna leave, comes back, hits another moonsault. He got Braun like you said. Braun used to leave fools in the ring all bloody in this position, but this time Jacob Fatu looked like a big star. He has Tama on his side. Like it feels like already. They were like, okay, maybe Jacob's going to overshadow Solo, so we shouldn't like really put the spotlight on him too quickly. But then it happened so instantly. They were like, well, we don't really have a choice at this point.
Yeah, it's taken off. And he's got Tama Tonga next to him. Tama Tonga is very much getting over with the growls and everything as well. These guys, it just works, man. Like I said, he's coming out talking that talk. Tama Tonga standing next to him with the black tee and the gold chain, bro. It's hidden.
That's so funny. Remember when Tama first did the growls and we were like, Tama, what is this? And now like it's a bit. He's working. He's making money.
Yeah, nah. He slid it into a little promo the other day, and I said, nah, this is hilarious. he made it work. I don't know, man. He made it work. So yeah, I thought that was the best use of the actual weekly programming on this show. I thought that this again made Jacob look fantastic. The main event, I didn't expect Gunther to lose, and I was surprised how many people realistically thought that Jey Uso could win here. Like I said, the thing that made me almost more confident than anything else that Jey was not winning here is that WrestleMania is right around the corner. I could not see Jey Uso heading into WrestleMania as champion. I could not see if anybody was going to beat Gunther ahead of WrestleMania. I just didn't see it being Jey Uso.
Yeah, wrestling fans convincing themselves that Jey Uso was going to be the one at this point was very interesting to me. Jey Uso fans I think I could agree with them being like, well, stop putting him in the matches if you're not going to let him win the big matches. But it's like he's so over, though. You have to use that in some way, you know?
No, if you've got a babyface that's this over, you want to put them against your heels because that gives them somebody to get heat against, and it continues to build up anticipation for something for Jey. And I do think he is going to get some kind of big win other than an IC title win, but I just didn't buy him winning here. I thought the match was fine for what it was. Again, it felt kind of like an inconsequential house show main event, but it worked for what it was. I think for my preference, I don't know. I've been watching these guys more and more, and the more Jimmy has been back in his element, the more he's been back wrestling like a baby face. I'm like, nah, Big Jim got it, dog. I'm sorry, I'm a Big Jim guy.
He's not as over as Jey, but it's different over there for Jim.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that this was a good spot for Jey if you want to keep putting him over as main event Jey Uso, main eventing on Saturday Night Main Event. Perfect for him, but again, I just never believed he was going to win. Maybe it's just me.
Now, there were some people out there that were like Team Jey and thought that this was going to be his crowning moment. You know what I mean?
I saw it. But nah, the way Gunther was talking, he was saying, nah, listen. Very funny guy. Comes out, does the chants. You guys love it. You can dance with him when he comes out. You can do your entrances. The lights are on and the music is off. Listen, man. When that bell ring, they got to cut that music off, man, and they got to lower the lights, dog. And it's going to be what you think it is. I'm about to chop this guy up out of here. Like,
they got to cut that music off at one point. It's true.
What you think this is? Like, bro, he came out on Monday night with Quavo. Hey, cool. You come out with all your little rapper friends. When you get in this ring and that bell rings, ain't none of them in here with you. And none of that's gonna work in here when this bell rings, and that's exactly what happened.
It was very black in the crowd on Monday. All the rapper friends that I know in Atlanta were out there.
Interesting. It was. It felt a lot like the Bad Blood show again, where it was like, hey, look at all these black people in the crowd, but in the ring, it was a different story.
Why do they keep doing that?
You trying to get me in trouble saying what I really think of the why they keep doing that. I mean, I've said more than once. I think part of the thing with both Saturday Night Main Event and especially Raw and Netflix is that it's about selling people on the WWE experience. It's about trying to get people to buy tickets. It's more about, hey, look how many celebrities are in the crowd. Look how fun these shows are. Look how many influencers are here. You never know what's going to happen at a WWE event, so get out there and buy a ticket. That's what it feels like. It doesn't necessarily feel like, okay, let's put on the best weekly show we can. It feels like I'm trying to sell you on the WWE experience.
We're having fun. Look at us. It's great over here. That's crazy. Yeah. What a wild.
Which I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think I've noticed it more and more on Netflix. People are in our chat making fun of Meltzer because he mispronounced Quavo's name. He called him Cuervo or something like that.
Jose Cuervo, probably.
Which then sparked people, getting on him, and I don't know what you expect. He's an old white guy. He's not in touch. I can't imagine he knows who the Migos are, doesn't listen to rap music. So I was not surprised that he got his name wrong.
How would Meltzer know who Quavo is ever? It's Meltzer. He's like 60.
Yeah.
A wrestling nerd for his whole life. Why would he know who the Migos are?
Exactly. This felt like Meltzer just being out of touch with like pop culture things and hip hop. Yeah.
Which is fine. I feel like I'm out of touch at some point when I hear some of these rappers. I'm like, oh damn, I'm out of touch. I'm 90.
Yeah.
Not any of the ones on Cuervo. This ain't no shot.
Cuervo.
Yeah, he was out there with Cuervo, I think it is, and they walk down to the ring. Hands are in the air.
Yeah, this reminds me when they were talking about Trick Williams and they didn't understand the "Whoop That Trick" chant, and I was like, yeah, that tracks for them. They don't,
because why would they? Wrestling fans think "Whoop That Trick" is from Trick.
Yeah. That reminds me of that tweet that I saw where people thought Ricochet was stealing the laugh from John Cena, and I was like,
there's a bubble that we live in, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Saturday Night Main Event, I thought it was fine for what it was. When I watched Collision afterwards, I was looking around like, hey, maybe I should have watched Collision live because this was the better show.
Far and away, it's like, oh, there's wrestling over here on this show. I can't believe that Saturday night is this. It's so funny. Now, the contrasting shows are very interesting. I thought Collision definitely, they knew that Saturday night's main event was happening, so they put on a wrestling ass show,
Yes. Yeah. Hall & Oates absolutely goat. Saw people in our chat saying, I'm so out of touch, I'm still singing Hall & Oates, but Hall & Oates got some records, bro.
Why Hall & Oates got to catch a stray in this? What they do? What they got to do?
Man, they're up there in those groups of, man, when I was reading how they don't get along, I was like, man, this just feels wrong. How the Hall & Oates not getting along?
Come on, Hall & Oates. What y'all doing? Y'all supposed to be boys. Y'all supposed to be down for a long time. The funniest bit is always MVP. Shout out to the homie MVP and his Steely Dan obsession. I'm like, damn, MVP loves him some Steely Dan, don't he?
Does.
I don't even know if I've ever heard a Steely Dan song before.
I'm sure you have. You just didn't know Steely
Probably,
Dan.
Yeah. I just always think of, what is it, Knocked Up? He's like, Steely Dan gargles my balls. Every time I think of that, every time I hear Steely Dan, that's what I think of. But shout out to the homie MVP. Should we get into some supers, humpers, chats with our homies?
Yes, we should. Mm-hmm. If you want to get your chat read on the air, Super Chat is the best way to get that done. But also, you can send us a Humper Chat, humperchats.com/Fightful.
Send it our way, friends. Of course, we always appreciate you. First up is Sean, who just became a new member. Shout out to Sean. Appreciate you for being here. YouTube, shout out. That's a great place to exist. The homie Tenruza says, to start off positive, shout out to the Fire Aid concert at Kia and Inuit. Great show and great artists involved. Nirvana was so emotional. Stevie Wonder, thumbs up. Stevie Wonder was out there?
I haven't watched it, but yeah, that's dope.
I did see the bit on Nirvana with Violet Grohl out there as the front woman taking over. Very dope. Tenruz also says, also Phil, Reg, you will always have love from us.
Appreciate you.
It's always appreciate you, Tenruz. Appreciate everybody for their support. In these crazy times, we need it. We need our pats on the back. Grapple Geekery says, I'm trying to balance staying aware and staying sane. Wrestling, gaming, and other geekeries help. I want to add, I love Grapsody and the men behind it. Appreciate you, Grapple Geekery. That's really amazing.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. Wanting to stay aware of what's going on in the world, but also feeling like overload sometimes and having a disconnect.
I got to get a new phone case because I've been throwing my phone too much recently. I'm like, I'm good here. I don't think I should see this. This is too much for my brain.
Yeah.
My brain. Grapple Geekery also says we need to screen cap that Reg reaction for memes. That was a crazy line, is all I'm saying. Like, I just like I still have so many questions, but they're more for Bruno Mars than for Phil, you know?
Yeah, you have to actually hear it in the context of the song, because I'm not really doing it any justice, I don't think.
That's the craziest part. Just hearing it out of context, I'm like, that's the wildest shit I ever heard. Gay sexy, get him sexy. Tenruza says, sexy red ain't it. She's the worst. Mediocrity.
Yeah. I mean, some people like it. I'm not really a fan, but also I'm not really the target audience either.
At all. 0%. Tenruz also says, where did all the good female rappers go? Latifah, Lil Kim, Soul isn't there anymore. Denise having culture in her brand funny. She's sheltered as fuck.
Nah, man, I think I don't want to do this whole, well, I don't really care for the sexy red stuff, so there's no good female rappers. There are, there are a lot of female rappers that kill it. I mean, Meg is still making great music. I think Grapsody's making great music.
Glow, I hear Glow stuff people are obsessed with Glorilla.
Glorilla's doing her thing right now. At one point, she did the Uchiwali flip, and people were not feeling it at all, but she recovered very well from that. I think some people completely forgot it happened.
I did. That's how great she's been since then.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of them. Tenruz also said, Credit Boy knows, like he knew about the Hall of Fame. We're gonna get into it. Don't worry. Joel Coin just sends a super chat. No words. Really appreciate you for that. Thank you, Joel. Steve OJ says, what's up, Grapsody? DJ Academics. He a fan. New Day losing instead of fixing the Raw tag team division. But at least my Grapsody jacket from For You Wear arrives today. Let's go.
Hey.
That's hard. Appreciate you for getting that, Steve. Appreciate you for supporting. Academics is finally getting what I think he's been trying to do this to himself for a long time, I feel.
Yes. Can't get a jacket like our friend here, Steve OJ, on foryourwear.com. But yeah, Academics, I'm not really surprised by some of this because he's had some crazy accusations for a while.
So many at this point.
Yeah, he's had some wild accusations for a while, and I've seen him say and do some crazy stuff on these streams. Enough for me to say I'm out on Academics, and I've been out on Academics. But this clip that surfaced recently of him talking to this kid is disgusting. I don't even know, what is the context and how do you get to that point in the conversation? Really gross stuff, really crass and immature stuff. Why, with the type of platform you have and the amount of people that follow you and the name you have, why are you doing that? Just real weirdo shit to me. But
weird.
Again, I'm not a fan of Academics anyway, so I can't say that I'm shocked. caught a ban from Twitter this week. I don't know if that's going to be a permanent ban, but also during the election, after the election, he was talking that Trump stuff. He was talking this weird crypto stuff. He's been very transphobic for a while. So, again, I don't really fuck with him anyway.
That guy sucks. That guy stinks. I knew his downfall was definitely going to come eventually because he's a terrible, terrible person. Joseph Molina says, Phil, have you seen Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man? I like it.
I have not watched it yet. I plan to watch it. Head writer on his homie Jeff Trammell on Twitter. I think that's dope. We got the news this week that Big E is doing some voice work on it.
Oh, wow.
That's also dope. I don't know how that came about. I have to see if I can ask Jeff. See if he'll come on the pod and explain.
Oh, look at that. Where's this Neighborhood Spider-Man streaming at?
On Disney Plus.
Dope. Super dope. Definitely check. I want to check that out. Rafael Garcia says, Happy Black History Month, the shortest month of the year. Oscar proud. A lot of wrestling today. Who you got for the Rumbles?
Yeah, we'll get into our picks for the Rumbles. But yeah, absolutely happy Black History Month. Not letting anybody tell us that this month is canceled. We don't care who it is. Yeah.
Every month is Black History Month, but America celebrates Black History Month in February. So shout out to everybody out there that's black. That's it. That's pretty much it. We'll definitely get into our Rumble picks here later. That's all of our super chats for now. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I had to get that one guy out of here because I got tired of seeing him pop up in our chat. You're doing too much, dog. Sorry, everybody. It was just distracting. I was like, just stop.
People are just bored on their Saturday morning time. They want to just come over here and just talk.
Yeah.
And vent.
Yeah.
Venti.
You know, I'd be trying. I'd be really, really trying to just not just let people talk, but doing too much. Let me see if we have any Humper Chats. Again, humperchats.com/Fightful.
Humper Chats. It like I was saying on Blue Sky, it feels kind of bittersweet today with wrestling happening after new documents have been released. So I'm like,
yeah,
where are you supposed to stand? I don't know. I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, I did read some of that. And he's, of course, alluding to the amendments to the complaint against Vince McMahon and WWE and John Laurinaitis. Yeah, still very grim stuff. The fact that this is still a big part of the news cycle a year later, because, of course, last year, same time during the Rumble, this thing hit the internet, and that led to the snowball to Vince being ousted for good. I assume for now for good. And yeah, some of the stuff that I read in this new update is, yeah, it's bad.
It's horrible. It's awful. It's the worst thing you could ever read. The biggest thing I think coming out of it is there's names said and mentioned in the lawsuit specifically that are gonna work a show today and gonna be backstage with people and gonna be directing and doing things. It's just kind of crazy. There was this office made for Miss Grant, and it was next to John Laurinaitis, and Nick Khan had a hand in constructing the designs and all these things and these pieces, and Triple H is going to be in the Hall of Fame, but also he knew about it because he was there's just like too much going on. Honestly, a lot of people are like, I wonder if they're going to cancel the press conference tonight because this fool don't want to answer no questions. And I was like, probably not.
No, show goes on.
Yeah, it's us. It's we're doing great. We made money. We made money today. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah. No, I don't see this being addressed in a big way in a press conference either. I could be wrong, but yeah. Some of the names attached to it, officially Brock Lesnar was named in this. Before, he wasn't brought up by name, but most people assumed it was him. But yeah, officially was brought up in this amendment to the lawsuit.
He played a big role, like a huge role in what was going on with this. And there's some newly released text messages, and Vince McMahon's telling her to do some things and go to Brock Lesnar, and she's being trafficked, you guys. It's crazy. Like, this is official on the record stuff. So like, it's getting way deeper than we ever knew it could be. And there was like a picture he had sent her that was during the filming of the Netflix documentary, and like,
That was
I'm
nasty.
like, oh my god, you guys. And like, the things he was having her do for the people he was having her do it for. It's like Michael Hayes was named as one of the people, and they just don't think for Michael Hayes and a crew of people, it says. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, of course, not doing this any justice. There are articles out about it
at all.
that you can actually read the amendment itself. You can read some of the blow by blow of it. But yeah, very grim stuff.
It's a tough time for me, you guys. I'll admit it. As someone who's had a love-hate relationship with the World Wrestling Entertainment for some years now, more hate than love. A lot of the times, it's like covering it has become difficult, if I'm keeping it real. Like, just like watching the show, being like, oh, the show, like being like the show must go on, what they're telling us to do, and then doing it is like becoming really hard. And then reading stuff like this, it's like, I don't know if I could continue to cover these people moving forward, like, as in like, feel good about it. Like, I don't want to just be like, oh, because I have a job, I have to cover these people that are doing some absolutely heinous, terrible, the worst things you ever seen. Like, in good faith, I can't feel good at being about like, let's watch the Royal Rumble tonight and watch some fools throw each other over, when in the back it's crazy and the fool like might have been involved in it. It's just a really crazy place to exist in, because they're the leader of all of this. Like, we're here and we exist, and this podcast is happening because of the WWE. So it's like, we're on Fightful, we're on these platforms, these people, there's expectations. It's hard to just not be like, I'm done with WWE, fuck all that, because they're like the forefront of this. But I want to be like, I'm done, fuck all that, fuck the WWE. So it's a really hard place to be in, especially after shit just happened last night. Just want to say it out loud on a podcast.
Yeah,
It's tough.
It is tough. I totally understand, and I think they have been trying to distance themselves as much as possible from Vince. But then when you have things like, hey, well, it's not just Vince. You guys might have got Vince out of here, but also you've got guys that are still working there that knew what he was doing or might have been complicit in it. Yeah, not great. Then also coming out of this, and you see how everybody's just acting like, oh, well, business as usual. We installed Triple H. Triple H is our guy now. They're kind of still around this whole thing, and
they were both just kikiing on NXT like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and you've got allegations linked. I've seen people doing the usual, speculating about surprise returns and the fact that Brock Lesnar is still in some of these conversations for surprise returns. Don't think we'll see Brock Lesnar anytime soon. I don't think WWE wants any kind of reference to this lawsuit or anybody that's going to be on the air that might be referenced in it. So I don't think we'll be seeing Brock Lesnar anytime soon.
I don't think we were, and then this drops less than 24 hours before Royal Rumble. If they had him in the plans, that would have been crazy. But if they did, they definitely sent him home. You know what I mean? If they're like, let's try it, they're definitely like, okay, we can't try it now. Because if you search Brock Lesnar in WWE right now, you're not about to get Royal Rumble results.
Yeah. So I thought that even before this update to the lawsuit came out,
right,
I did not think we would see Brock Lesnar because, again, they want to distance themselves from this as much as possible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wouldn't think it would not be the time. Like, you need to separate from Brock Lesnar as much as you can, and having him come in this big giant match would be terrible timing. But I mean, they've done crazier things.
Yeah. Yeah. Just had, Hogan on TV, so.
listen, it's all up in the air at this point. But yeah, you guys should, it's very graphic and grim things, but read it yourself. Don't take what we're saying because there's so much in there, so many context, so many details that are added in there that you guys should check out.
Yes. Get into some of these Humper chats. Got one from Van Twinblade. He says, we this week has been a fucking shit show. He says Trump and his people will try to baffle you with their BS, to drown you in minor idiocies. Do not let them. The truth is the truth, and it will be the truth no matter the lies. We will prevail.
Maybe.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's why every time we come on here and talk about certain things, I keep saying, I want to come with something very optimistic, but it's hard not to feel like misinformation and people peddling misinformation won. But at the same time, we do have to continue to be careful about the information that we take in. We got to be careful about the things we entertain, the debates we get into, because it is important to understand, like, don't let these people pervert the truth and tell you your eyes and your ears aren't really giving you the information that's really in front of you. Like,
nah, you didn't see that.
Yeah, I keep seeing people try to do this. Even when he was on TV doing his DEI thing the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty racist. And people are like, well, why is it racist? Listen, man, in 2025, I am not arguing with you about why this is clearly racist, but it is what it is.
I saw people doing that for the Elon thing. Well, why is this that? Why does it represent? Like, no, dog, we can see. We have eyes and ears. Come on,
bro.
Well, what do you mean? This is just the left trying to. I'm like, no, this is not anybody trying to do anything.
Yeah, how do we know that's what he was doing?
How do we know? We have eyes.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down that and start ranting and raving. This isn't a political podcast, so I will try to table some of that. But yeah, that was a wild night of people going, well, do we really know? Like, it was a controversial gesture.
Right. This is a controversial gesture. I'm like, you guys, we can flip anything at this point. Yeah. They made him do it. I'm like, I don't think this is how this I don't think this is how that works.
Got another one from D-Lo Diggs. He says, it's the first of the month, and it's the first of Black History Month on Grapsody. Getting my ish off next week when K-Doc probably first Rumble in years. I don't know who will win, men and women. Michael B. Jordan movie might crack. Peace and hair grease. Yeah. Appreciate you, D-Lo.
There's a new Michael B. Jordan movie? What are you talking about?
He's got the vampire movie coming out.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this. That's going to be a good one. That's the one with the homie from Oakland.
Yeah, working with Ryan Coogler again. Excited to see them collaborate again.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler.
Yeah. Bay Area's own Ryan Coogler.
Okay. Sorry. I have to log that one.
Hey, we got some more from Tony P. Humper Chats regular. Says, time for OG Humper Petty of the Week return by giving it to a woman who is the embodiment of this award. Thekla, her first Petty of the Week for pulling her own 09 VMA moment on Micah during the acceptance speech of the Stardom MVP. I love Thekla, man. She's so great.
I was trying to find that Joy Janela video. I can't find it. I want to see him get that table flipped on his head. Sounds hilarious.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny. The way that he starts jumping him and then like the fans around his table start joining in. Yeah.
This isn't on the Jericho cruise, is it? Like, where is this?
I think it's at the wrestling convention that's going on.
Being off the internet is crazy, Phil. You just missed so many things.
Well, that's why, I can't completely sever from Twitter. I still get a lot of news and certain updates and stuff from Twitter. So I'll lurk on Twitter, but a lot of times I'll see something and go, oh, that's kind of funny, and then close the app. I don't comment on things as much as I used to. And so much so that when I do comment on things sometimes, it feels like more people run to it because it's like, oh, wait, It's a Phil sighting. It's like, yep, you'll probably only get one of these today, but
a Phil sighting.
Yeah.
I haven't tweeted in months, it feels like.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
Yeah,
More from Tony P. He says, now about the source subject for me, Jimmy/the Heat. Trading him is going to be tough for MIA. Also for Jimmy, I don't think he is going to get the money he thinks he is owed unless a team is desperate, considering his age and problem reputation properly cemented. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Jimmy because it's no doubt for me, at least for the past 5 years or so, he's one of the best Heat players ever. I think what he's managed to do with that team, willing them to 2 NBA finals, they didn't win, but man, especially the last finals they went to, they were not supposed to get there. They very much overachieved with him, and he's been a true leader on that team. And for this to end that way with them just not wanting to pay him, and I get it. I get why Pat Riley and the front office doesn't want to pay him for the things you name. He is getting older. Yep. You are going to have to start rebuilding this team, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that I don't think he's going to get his due at the end of this tenure with the Heat, and this has been such a contentious exit. But it was kind of inevitable, especially with some of the stuff over the summer that we saw, and you could see the writing on the wall that they weren't going to pay him. It's conflicting because, like I said, I get his point of view, but I also get the office's point of view.
This is so unfortunate because, like, I've been watching, as I've told you guys, a lot of basketball podcast clips and the people talking. And recently, they've been talking a lot. They always talk a lot about Melo specifically and J.R. Smith on how they both. I watched both of them on a podcast this week. Be like, we could still play. We could still be getting down. We could still be on a main team. We're better than all these people. They like still feel like they're high caliber NBA players, but like the NBA doesn't feel like that. And at one point, if the NBA was like starts to think and feel a way about you, they're kind of like done with you. And then the opposition is people being like, well, they didn't know when to like play their position. They wanted to still be superstars. If the coach is like, we want you to come off the bench, we want you to become this different player, they still have the mindset of, I'm a superstar, I want to come in and be like that. So I don't know if Jimmy's at that space of like, I still think I could be the number one superstar on this team and lead you guys to a championship. And the Heat's like, you haven't really, and we're trying to rebuild and we're trying to do all these things, and we want you to be a part of the organization, but we want you to take on a different type of role. And sometimes superstar players can't really adjust to that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's some of that, but I think it's also when he did get the contract the first time with the Heat, you were coming off of a finals appearance, and I think a lot of people were like, well, he's never going to go back. This was just in the pandemic. And for him to go back and overachieve the way he did, I think he's looking around like, yeah, I did that. Now cash me out.
Right.
And they're telling them no. And so that's why I'm like, I get it. And I know people are going to harp on his reputation and antics around it. He has this reputation of flaming out and doing these things, but often he's right. That's the thing about it. That the thing that he's saying, he's not wrong about. I mean, one of my biggest frustrations with when he left here is I was looking around like, no, he's right. He's right about the front office mishandling this situation. He's right about how they mishandled other situations.
Yes, right. It's pretty rare about when he's talking about these head offices where he's just talking out of his ass just because he wants to get out of a contract.
Yeah, he was right about Minnesota. And we see that. Look at where Minnesota is right now.
Yep.
He was right about Minnesota. He was right about Philadelphia.
Right.
I mean, none of these teams have gone to the finals since he left there, but he's gone to the finals.
Yep.
At some point, you gotta look around like, yo, he might have a point.
Right.
And I don't think that Miami's gonna get much better after this whole situation with him. I think when they trade him, you're obviously going to go into a rebuild phase, so you got to give them some time, but it might be a struggle down there for a minute, bro.
That's a fact. It's going to be kind of hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a rebuilding phase like they expected, but maybe even a little harder than they thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. More from Tony P. He says, with Bane back, I will scream this from the rooftops. AEW needs to rebrand the women's division as home of the powerhouse mommies. Surprisingly, have a lot of them on this roster. Hell, bring over Chihiro from Sendai to belly to back some bitches. Yeah, I mean, I think they do have a few wrestlers now where it could be they could do that, but I don't know if we're gonna get that kind of rebrand, bro. It seems like I know you guys enjoy saying the AEW is for sickos. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they want to. I don't know if they want to get that far in the weeds, buddy.
I mean, they do have 2 women's championships. One of these could be rebranded as that division, and I would not be mad at it at all. But yeah, I don't think they're going to go as deep as that. But I'm very excited about all these new developments. Megan Bayne is debuting tonight on Collision. Very exciting stuff.
Yes. On to the WWE side, he says, after last night with the Mia and Chelsea Saturday night main event, what we've been seeing and the rematches and storylines just being drawn out, I wanted to question again Triple H's strengths and weaknesses as a booker on the main roster. I think his strength is the moments, and that's always been kind of the strengths of this company. I think he's good at booking the big moments. Sometimes the weekly television show, it kind of drags. But when he wants to give you the moments or give you those banger episodes, he can. It just feels like a lot of this stuff is like,
oh, those are some live rounds, brother.
What happened?
I'm watching the Joey Janela thing. I'm like, no, these are some real punches in this.
Yeah, this. Yeah. Eesh.
I'm like, nah, these are some live rounds out here, brother. They're throwing them things.
I'm assuming it's a work. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm assuming it's a work. I hope it's a work.
A work is punch me in the head hard as you can. That's crazy as hell. Wow.
But yeah,
I hope it's a work though, because them wrestlers are moving crazy.
Yeah, I think that Triple H clearly has his strengths as a booker. I think some things that he does are not really for my preferences, not really for my taste. But I mean, you can't argue with the results. WWE is hotter than it's been. I think they've done a great job of building up the crop of baby faces for this era. I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this. But some of this stuff, man, gets very repetitive, bro.
Would I say he's a great wrestling booker? Probably not. He's a great WWE booker for sure, though. Like, he definitely gets, like Phil was saying, like moments, the time, the space to, like, the stare-offs tonight are going to hit hard. Like, he really understands things like that. But then there's some other things that are head scratchers.
Oh, they're saying Janela clarified the story on Twitter, not a work. I apologize then for laughing.
I was gonna say they looked like they were fighting for reals. There's some stomps in there. There's some punches in the head. I'm like, yo, this don't look like no work. And if it is a work, great job, you guys, because y'all look like y'all are throwing some live rounds. Wrestling is so crazy, you guys. I don't know why. I'll definitely find out later, but that's an interesting development.
Yeah, here let's look.
Shout out to the homie Braga for sending that to the Grapsody Discord.
Okay, via Joey Janelli says, gonna nip this in the butt. There's a video circulating of me getting ambushed at my table while I was meeting fans after the show tonight. It stems from him airing his grievances about his experiences doing AEW extra work the day after Brody Lee's death. Whoa.
What happened?
That a lot of us were very upset about. I took to Twitter because I thought it was disgusting, and we went back and forth. Tonight, 4 years later, he flipped me and Megan's gimmick table over to confront me, and we got into a scuffle, which resulted in GCW crew thinking I was getting attacked by a deranged fan, and Megan thinking it was some weird Joey Janela skit. Yeah, see, that's why I thought it was a skit. For someone that claims to have boxing training, amazingly, not one punch landed. He was eventually carried out like a crying baby by Calvin Tankman. Sorry to all the fans that had to witness that. It was an extremely embarrassing situation. Sorry to all the Indianapolis crew that wanted to put on a great weekend of independent wrestling for the city. Sorry if I contributed to any unneeded drama.
Oh, I see it now. Hearing what he says, it makes a lot of sense because the GCW wrestlers that are standing around start stomping the dude out. Like they start punching him from behind. They're stomping him in the face. Like they didn't know what they were just like. Oh, somebody's on Joey. Get that fool. And they start getting them.
So wait a minute. That's what makes it wild that he responded with the finally caught him lacking. Yo,
yeah,
what?
What? No, that's a wild way to respond to this. Finally caught him lacking.
Because it's not like a fan, and that's kind of why I thought this was a work, because it's not like a fan put that clip of it happening. He put it out there.
It's his
like,
thing, yeah. He tweeted that.
Yo.
Finally got Joey Janela lacking gang shit. That's what he said at Dylan Bostic. You didn't.
But there's again, yo, we got to use these words correctly, bro. When
Caught lacking gang shit. This is neither one of those.
You got to use these words correctly, because when you say you caught somebody lacking, I know what that means, and in certain areas, let's chill on some of these words. That's all I'm saying, man. It's just,
caught lacking isn't two missed punches. That's not. It's not how this works. Yeah. It's not gang shit. Gang shit is somebody's mom's crying.
Yeah.
I don't know why they want this so bad.
No, mimicking gang culture. It ain't it, guys. It's not funny. As someone from a city that gang violence was a very big deal in for a long time, it ain't funny. And I know that I laughed at the video because I thought it was a work, but guys, we can chill out. It's cool.
Listen, I'm from California. I've seen the worst shit you could ever see. I want 0 parts. That gang shit is real. Started here.
Yeah, well, so I think we got to chill on some of this mimicking gang culture shit, man. That's cool. We ain't got to do that. More from Tony P. He says, also to add on to Phil's point, you're right about the WWE experience thing. Hell, even Andrew Zarian has talked about it, using a story about something she said at a WWE show. I'm assuming you mean he said, as time goes on, I think WWE will have ticket price issues soon. Now, they're right now they're hot. They're selling tickets. I think that's part of the TKO influence as well. We've seen like the prices and stuff go up, but then again, I think that's why they're doing the presentation this way and why they're trying to make all of these things feel like a big event. So come show up, come buy a ticket. And again, I can't sit and say from a business standpoint that that's the wrong way to do business. But as somebody that watches the weekly programming, sometimes the hype for these things doesn't quite match what we actually get.
I have a question for you, Phil Lindsay. How long until WWE Raw has a DJ, like a house DJ that plays?
That just sits behind Cole and Pat McAfee, and he's just like, they're gonna have DJ Self up there, just like spinning a set.
Just like getting everybody into. It's funny because Eric Bischoff had all these wild ideas back in the day for Nitro. Like, there's a DJ, there's dancers. I'm like, WWE is kind of becoming that with what you're describing here. They're talking about the experience. They're like, you could be here cheering and having fun, and clapping hands with your friends, drinking beers. Like, it's a matter of time before the Raw DJ is here.
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Send my money when you guys do my idea, WWE.
Yeah. Y'all ready for Jey Uso? Y'all get your hands up. Yeet.
Phil, come on. It's got to be coming soon.
Wait. No. Hold on. Let me get it correctly. Hold on. Y'all ready for Jey Uso? We got Jey Uso coming out tonight.
I like how they just got Funkmaster Flex to do it. Y'all ready for Jey Uso? I'm telling you.
Paul coming out, man. Are you ready? Yo,
I died. Are you ready? Flex bomb. I'm telling you, it's coming, Phil. They're gonna have the Raw DJ. He's on his way, dude.
Nah, bro. If I hear air horns and like the Don DeMarco, yo, I'm cutting my TV off, dog. Don DeMarco.
You're gonna rue this day, Philip Lindsay. It's coming. Funkmaster Flex, the official Raw DJ. Nah, they would have like an EDM DJ. They wouldn't have a hip hop DJ.
Yo,
WWE. Steve Aoki or some shit.
Oh yeah, you know. I'm sorry, I got too hip hop for you. I got excited because they got rap all over these things. They're bringing the rappers, but y'all are definitely getting the dun 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 dun. Oh, whoa! Y'all ready for Triple H?
Ours is a little too niche. There ain't gonna be no flex bombs in that. They're gonna have like the little neon arms swinging in the air and shit. Like it's gonna be like a rave.
Yeah,
it's coming. It's gonna happen.
Our last humper chat from Tony P. Appreciate you as always. He says, "Love to everyone doing positive, helping those that are weak, and giving some strength to the weak. Never let the bastards trick you into despair. Keep resisting. Love to my DMV area and the victims."
Yeah, shout out to that. It's crazy. I can't believe that those things could happen in like 2025. Things colliding like that in spaces, and there's some talk of San Francisco. There's some places that are crossed, and I'm like, this is too much for my brain to comprehend. So yeah, just sending love and rest in peace to those people that tragically lost their lives.
Yeah. We got one last humper chat from Wonga. He says, "G'day, Grapsody fellas. I don't expect Fujita to win against Desperado in a few days for the junior title, but I hope he has a good match with him. Been a fan of his since the shenanigans with Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil in the G1 a few years back." Yeah, man. I totally agree. I don't think he's going to win either, but I do think that's going to be a fun match.
When's the show? Tonight?
I know it's in a few weeks. I believe it's February 11th.
Yeah.
Time. Yeah. Of course, he's talking about New Japan, New Beginnings that will be taking place February 11th, I believe. Don't quote me. I might have that date wrong. But
it's usually around that time.
Yeah, it's usually around that time. I know it's in February. I didn't want to just be like sometime in February, but I'm pretty sure it's the 11th.
Feb 11. We have a couple of more super chats while you look that up, so I'll get into those. Tenruza says, "Clear out the Fed. We'll shake things up. HHH/Nick. I hope there are some adults in the presser after Rumble and no jabronis being part of the show. Good luck."
Okay. Yeah, I now have it in front of me. The Despy match with Fujita that takes place on the 4th, so that's in a few days. But the actual main show with Goto taking on Zack Sabre Jr., that's going to be on the 11th.
February 11th, New Beginnings. Yeah, Tenders, I don't think there's going to be any... The people that are going to ask the hard-hitting questions are probably going to magically not make it into that room tonight. Hey, go to the bathroom. What's over there? And then they all run the other way.
Yeah, that's when the DJ gonna pop up, man. All of a sudden, it's gonna be distractions.
Tonight is the night the DJ debuts. Y'all ready for this? Tenders also says people clowning AEW why gagging for WWE is jokes.
Yeah, his preferences. Fans are gonna be fans, man. I try to tune a lot of this stuff out now.
Yeah. They're going to pick sides no matter what. Using bad faith times to tribalize I don't want to be a part of that either. Yeah. Grapple Geekery also says the Saudi shows, Vince, and political associations ruined it for me years ago. Now they're in bed with UFC and Hogan too. I totally understand Reg. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
A lot to take on.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
you have a McMahon in this guy's cabinet, and some of the links to this. But see, the problem with that is it's a slippery slope. I totally believe when you talk about that specifically and political affiliations, that's rampant throughout the wrestling business. I don't think that's just a WWE thing. It just seems like it's more glaring because you have guys at the top of WWE that are linked to it.
That are loud about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are a lot of MAGA folks throughout wrestling.
And the world and the challenge and everything that I like. I'm like, okay, I just can't know anybody personally at this point. So as people start talking personal, I'm like, oh yeah, you suck. BL Dog says, happy Grapsody Day, y'all. It's Black History Month. Collision is on tonight, and I turn 28 tomorrow. Given the state of things, I'm relatively up. LMAO.
Hey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, bro. It's a fun if you're gonna enjoy wrestling, it's gonna be a fun wrestling day. Hopefully the weather's not crazy wherever you are, and if you want to get outside, you could get outside. Happy birthday. You're the same amount your age is the same amount of days that Black History Month is, so shout out to that. Or is it 29 days?
I don't think it's a leap year. I think it's 28, right?
Yep. See, look at that.
Yeah.
Those leap year kids are so, man, shout out to the leap year kids. Birthday every 4 years. Van Twinblay says, that's not what those words mean. Maybe to the Denise thing.
No, I think he's talking about the gang stuff. Like,
oh, yeah. That's not what those words mean. They mean like gang. They mean real shit. And then Van Twinblade also says, Saraya broke up with Ronnie, transphobic baby man Radke, and the transphobia was not the cause.
Yeah, I don't know what the cause was. I seen Saraya tweeting some stuff, but I don't know. That, it's people's personal business. I don't. Ain't none of my business. I don't know what the reason was. Not for me to editorialize.
That ain't none of my business, though. That's all of our super chats. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you guys as always. Before we jump into some Royal Rumble stuff, we had an announcement this week. For you, in case you've been living under a rock, Triple H will be the first member of this year's class of Hall of Fame inductees. The rollout for this was quite crazy. And
I watched a video on Facebook somewhere. It's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Stephanie. They're all like having lunch, and Triple H is like explaining to Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. He's like, "Yeah, I was wondering why Steph wanted to come to work with me, and like, I just was so confused as to like the excuse she made, and then Shawn was going to be here. So like the whole bit is Triple H didn't know." Phil, he didn't know that he was going to go into the Hall of Fame. He just pulled up to work, and all of his friends and family were like, "You're doing this."
all of his well-known close friends, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, linked to this, and then, like he said, Steph came to work with him. What's going on, guys? Are you guys throwing me a surprise party? Then he gets in there, and they announcement. He's like, "I'm gonna kill you, Nick." It's like. One of the most powerful men in the company. You're telling me you did not know this was coming? No?
Come on.
No. All right. Yeah, shout out. I believe it was Cultaholic that did the Obama meme of him putting the the medal on himself, because that's exactly how this felt. Just kind of like, yeah, you did this. Applause. And this will, of course, be his second Hall of Fame induction. He was inducted with DX before, but there's so many things about this that are funny. I mean, just from the way the past year has gone, I mean, the second Vince was out of here, that WrestleMania weekend, him being all over everything, him doing the opening of WrestleMania, every time you could think of that you can get a chance to put this guy on TV. When that curtain dropped on the debut of Netflix and he's the guy under there, it's still one of the funniest things of the year so far to me. And we're still doing this. We're still giving him his flowers. I mean, I don't know if I could.
I thought Phil, after his name was at the end of every TV show, I was like, this is probably like the credit boy thing is funny. Phil and I be clowning all the time. This is probably where it's going to stop for a while. You know, like he's taking his thing in, like he's taking all of his flowers. Everybody's patting him on the back. Like every show he wants you to know he did this. But then when they're like, actually, he's going into the Hall of Fame and he didn't know, I'm like, all right, you guys, let's everybody calm down here. The highest man, the biggest one, they say he runs everything. He has his hands in every pot. He ain't know about this. Y'all got this past him.
Y'all have spent the past few months putting videos of him rehearsing people's entrances. At every turn, he's just like, "Hey guys, I did this," and you want me to think he didn't do this? Like, all right,
not
come
this
on,
though,
dog.
Phil. He did that. He did Penta's entrance. Great. He did that. He got us new
else.
championships. He got us new everything. But this, he did not know. We got it around him. It was first time hearing about it.
We got a fast one over him. Like
Shawn Michaels, his wife, and the Undertaker all were the first ones to tell him. Nick Khan knew too. Everybody knew but him. All right. Yeah. Okay.
all very funny stuff. The rollout of this, I still, of course, tie this back to the Cody quote of, he doesn't like attention. He doesn't want to actually come out here. He doesn't want to be on TV. And it's just like, you sure?
He didn't want to come out for WrestleMania. Yeah, I bet, dog.
Who do we think is going to induct him into Hall of Fame? Who do you think? I would guess Shawn. Shawn would make a lot of sense.
That makes the most sense, but they like to pull fast ones. Like it could be Kevin Nash. It could be Stephanie. Maybe potentially, like Shawn Michaels might be like, I want Stephanie to do it. You know how many they just have like such an interesting relationship that you just don't know who could do it. Like my brain says Shawn Michaels just because the Friends thing, they're still working very closely together, but I could also really see Stephanie doing it.
Stephanie does make sense. Maybe Undertaker.
Undertaker could also do it. He could also do it for himself since he's so like, he could be like, the Booker Triple H is presenting the award to the wrestler Triple H. NXT Black and Gold Triple H is presenting the award to current Triple H. Triple H Hunter Hearst Helmsley is presenting the award to the game.
Listen, man, if he comes out there and he's just like, tonight we're here to celebrate someone special. And then he does this whole speech about how great this person is. And at the end he's like, me.
He pulls down a black curtain and it's a statue of him. I just didn't know, Phil. I was like, okay, I'm like, it's in Vegas. Bro. There's no cultural significance to Vegas. Like, it's not a special WrestleMania where he like it's just like it's just cause like there's no reason why. Just cause like let's do it, There's hella people that deserve to go in there over him. Like I'm just so confused.
Yeah. Head of creative, Paul Levesque is here to induct Triple H into the Hall of Fame. Yo.
It doesn't seem like the craziest thing, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
This is NXT Black and Gold Triple H talking. I'm here to present the award. Oh. What a wild chain of events that happened to get Triple H to being a two-time Hall of Famer. I'm blown away. There's so many funny bits to this, and then like talk about pretty not that great timing, I'd say also.
I saw someone make a joke, and I felt bad that I laughed as hard as I did at it. But in my defense, it was pretty funny. Somebody said he didn't know he was being inducted into Hall of Fame because, like the lawsuit last year, he didn't read the memo that morning. I was like, yo. Oh my God, y'all have got to relax, bro. Y'all got to relax.
We all got to get off the internet. That's great. Henry the man. You guys, we can't.
Yeah, you guys have got to relax.
We can't.
Oh,
Ooh, what a funny guy, though, Phil. I like.
The
There's
funniest
no
guy.
place he can get, but now, like, I'm like, oh, this guy is gonna do it all. Like, he's gonna like burn through every accomplishment. Like, before he's gonna make sure to get every accolade and award while he can. And like, I guess I'm not mad at it. I watch Drink Champs. I watch him bring the flowers out to the people that are still alive.
Yeah. By the way, you know how people try to throw on FTRs that they're like a Bret Hart tribute act, and man, I was sitting watching SmackDown last night, and I was like, that's what these guys are now. Like, these guys are just like mini Sean and Hunter. DIY comes out, they've got like the green on their Tron, they've got like the generic rock music. I'm like, they're just mini. They're mini DX now. Like, that's
Everybody
their whole
has
bit now.
kids these days. It's crazy. It's wild.
Bro,
I mean, not as good as Shawn Michaels. Maybe Triple. I don't know. But Shawn Michaels, that's crazy. But
Triple H comes out. I mean, well, Tommaso comes out and he's like walking around like scowling and stuff, and Ciampa's like running around him like in a circles, like super excited. And I was like, where have I seen this before?
oh, Shawn and Hunter, two-time Hall of Famer.
2 times. When are they gonna induct The Rock into the Hall of Fame? By the way, I've been thinking about this because the fact that this guy now has 2 inductions on the way and The Rock is still not in the Hall of Fame is kind of crazy, is it not?
That's all I'm saying. I'm like, there's a whole bunch of people that are in line to go in there, and you're getting another one when like Batista isn't. He's, you know what I mean? Like, what? There's some people that could headline this thing, but you're gonna take the main thing. But yeah, The Rock not being in there yet after this long of being as a retired in-ring performer is crazy because they gave it to Fools after like a year of being retired.
Yeah, I don't know if. I mean, The Rock now is on the board, so maybe this is his call. I don't know, but it just seems wild because Austin has been in there since 2009.
Yeah, it's been a while at this point.
So what's the holdup of putting The Rock in there? I don't really understand that one. And of course, I'm not saying that to say, oh, well, Triple H is purposely not putting him in there so he can put himself in there first. But again, the optics of this are just so very funny to me. If you were a fan during the Attitude Era, and a lot of the times when Triple H won, I was like, does he have to keep beating The Rock? And then you look at this, it's like, why is this guy already in the Hall of Fame twice and The Rock is not in there? What's going on?
I think Shawn Michaels has 2 rings too, and he retired in 2009. Like, I'm like, what's happening here? Like, I'm sure I want to say they presented the idea to The Rock before. They couldn't have not, right? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, maybe he turned him down. I don't know, but it is weird that he's not in there yet. It kind of felt like
he was in here at this point.
It kind of felt like last year was the year to do it because he was a big part of the build to WrestleMania. He's a part of all the festivities. I wonder why they didn't just do it then.
They had him for so much time. They could have been like selling this thing like crazy and giving it to him. I guess they probably expected him to be there this year too. Maybe that's what happened. Like, they expected him to come back for the match this year, and they were going to induct him and then have him do the big match. And they were like, oh, we can't. We'll have Triple H instead. I'm shooting Triple H bell. That's crazy. I can't believe this. I can't believe what my life has come to.
Yeah. The idea of them having all of this, like, in the plans, like, yeah, big Rock Roman match. Sure. Hall of Fame induction. And then he called and hit the Irving Magic Johnson. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be there. And they were like, oh, we got to pivot. Who could we throw in there? Triple H is just in the background like, I might know a guy.
He's, I got the guy outside the door. He goes outside the door and comes back in. It's me.
I might know a guy and then leave the room and comes and knocks on the door and they answer it to him.
It's me, NXT Black and Gold Paul Levesque. Which one's going in, Phil? I still don't know yet. Which version of him? Because I've seen some videos and some things of people being like, he could go on for this, he could go on for that, he could go for this. Like, I don't know which version it is. I'm just asking. That's it. That's all.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
These are just questions. That's it.
Yeah, I assume this is for
man.
the totality of his career as a singles wrestler and everything else, because that's usually how this goes. And he's going in as a group. The only other way I could see him going in is if they induct Evolution as a group. That's the only way I could see him getting a third one. But other than that,
happening.
I think this is it.
Guaranteed to happen. That's probably next year. That's probably whenever Ric Flair stops. I don't know if he still has a thing with AEW, but like whenever he gets whenever Ric Flair Woo Energy is done, then they're like, all right, let's do this evolution thing. I just don't know if they're gonna put Batista in before he goes in single.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was the story that Batista turned him down. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that was a thing a while back that he turned him down. They wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame, and he did not want it.
Oh, interesting. I thought would think he would like that because he talks pretty positively about pro wrestling.
Yeah, I don't remember what was the reasoning, but I thought I saw that he
could be a
turned
timing
down,
thing. He is a brilliant actor at this point.
Yeah.
The best of the actors brunch when they like, who's the best? The Rock, Batista, or John Cena? It's definitely Batista.
Yeah. Here. Batista confirmed that he was supposed to go into WWE Hall of Fame in 2023, but could not due to film commitments. Batista was announced as a WWE Hall of Fame elect in 2020, but ultimately was never officially inducted due to global pandemic. That's right. I forgot.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Like, because I remember seeing him on like the little graphic, you know?
Yeah, but that's what it was. The context was that he had some other prior engagements.
Prior commitments. I'm like, he must have had it again this year because there's I'm like, what's going on here? Batista said also, I can't do it. It's gonna be in Vegas. When? No, I can't.
No, I can't get out there. That's why again, the Triple H was sitting there, he was sitting at the table and he had the thumbs down at first, and then he was like, me?
Moi? I don't know. I had these balloons for nothing. I didn't know you guys were gonna pick me. The Triple H bit is so funny. Oh, I'm crying.
All of these are jokes, and I'm sure somebody is just like, are you guys ever going to take any of this Triple H stuff seriously? I don't think we are. I'm sorry.
Probably not.
I mean, of course, other than some of the
serious stuff, yeah, definitely.
Some of the serious stuff, but like the rest of this guy having to be front and center on everything, all of this is just some of the funniest stuff ever. It's just like, it's like, I don't see how crazy this looks.
If you don't see how insane this looks, it's so crazy. Like, just because, like,
yo,
if Vince took, like, I didn't know Vince McMahon was the owner of WWF. I had been watching WWF for 10 years before, like, they finally were like, this guy owns it. Like, if you Triple H was like the first day, I own all of this. This is all mine. I'm the booker. My homies book too. Like, we gang. And it's just so funny. Like the contrast he has to this, like, this guy, your stepdad, dead father-in-law did some of the craziest shit ever. And you're like just doing some wild shit. It's just so funny.
At this point, I'm waiting for him to just redo the stand back video.
Doing all the bits at this point. I want to see like Austin hit him in the head with a bedpan in the hospital. I'm like, he's just gonna recreate all this stuff, I think. Whew, brother, that's funny.
Yeah, that is. I guess I've exhausted all of the jokes I can get out about this.
Paul talk. Yeah, that's it.
We've got Royal Rumble stuff to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Got some AEW stuff to get into. But before we do that, I want to hit you guys with a word from our sponsor.
Yeah.
BetOnline.ag is the official betting partner of Fightful. 100% of the time when you get the odds from Fightful, they are coming from BetOnline.ag. And it's not just wrestling, it's not just MMA and boxing. It's football, it's basketball, baseball, hockey. They have the earliest lines. You can bet big with the high limits and rebet functionality. They have the fastest payouts with winnings paid in minutes and the industry's best bonuses on every qualifying deposit. They've been trusted for 25 plus years. It's not some fly-by-night company. BetOnline AG has been there. They've done that. In addition, they're trusted by millions. They've got VIP rewards programs and a ton of popular games. BetOnline.ag, that's where I go to make my bets. That's where I suggest you go to, my friends. Please just bet what you can and bet responsibly.
Bet what you can. Please bet responsibly. But for all your sports betting needs, BetOnline.ag is the place to go. I believe you can still get your bets in time for Royal Rumble. John Cena is currently listed as the favorite to win the men's Royal Rumble. I don't know if I believe that, but we'll get into that in a few.
There's a lot to bet on tonight. There's a UFC show happening right very soon. If you want to get your bets in, there's a lot to get your bets in on. So definitely hop on betonline.ag and get you some.
Yeah. We talked about earlier last Saturday, had Colliders watching their show on the other channel while Saturday Night Main Event was going on. I did not watch Collision live. The only part of it that I did watch live was the Toni Storm and the Mariah stuff, which was amazing. But when I actually watched the show in totality, I was like, oh, no, this was the better show.
It definitely was the better wrestling show. There was more stories told. It felt like Collision was trying something. I love this when something important happens on Collision, Phil, and people are like, why did they do this on Collision? It's like, well, can you ever make Collision an important show if you never put important moments on it? You have to house some of these moments because it has to become that type of show. So there was a lot of storytelling on this. There was a lot of feud furthering in this. The big homie had me very worried. I had to be like, what the hell's going on? He gets into this brawl with Big Bill. I look down for 1 second, then I look up and he has a face full of blood. I'm like, what the hell happened here? Like bricks in a bag or something? Like, Phil, like what happened?
I mean, I thought all of this stuff with him and Big Bill was really good.
Yeah.
Jericho sending Big Bill to take care of Hobbs, and he confronts him to start the show. I thought that was handled very well. Those Anthony Edwards that Hobbs had on looked crispy. Those are clean. But yeah, they got into this fight. He fought him off, and Hobbs got one over on him. Big Bill did the usual villainous. You haven't seen the last of me, Hobbs, and then he comes back out later with the backpack, and I kept looking like, why is he wearing this backpack? What is with this JanSport? And then he ends up hitting him with the bag, and then he empties it out, and he's got the bricks and all the other stuff in there. And at first, I was like, oh, that looked like a good spot. And then when we actually see his face, I was like, he's bleeding pretty bad. Is he okay?
What happened here? What is this? I'm immediately texting me like, hey, is everything all good? And this fool is fucking won't sell anything. Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I've been shot before. I'm like, dog, are you okay?
Yeah, very, very, very nasty looking. But I thought the beatdown segments between the two of them were very good.
Great.
I thought that they made both of these guys look great. The one at the beginning of the show where they're fighting outside and Hobbs snatches that gate off of the wall and he's like ready to throw it at him. I thought, again, made these two guys look phenomenal. I don't think the AEW always books big guys well, and I feel like this is one of the better things they've done with big men wrestlers.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it because Big Bill, I think, has been shining so much in all of his moments given. He's such a charismatic and polarizing wrestler that him being locked in with Hobbs, I think, is great for both wrestlers. And we see it here. Like, Hobbs has so many of these moments, like you described, ripping off the cage. I think back to him body slamming Big Show. They have like these big moments where they're like, this guy's strong, he's crazy. And they're just like so cool, makes him look like a fucking beast. And then later, after he does get the crazy bloody backpack shot, they end up doing the belly to belly suplex off of the stage onto two tables on the floor. And I'm just like, these guys are gigantic, Phil. They're not little fools. They're two giant wrestlers. And that's a crazy and scary bump to take.
Yes. But yeah, I thought all of that stuff was good. I think the fact that they're continuing the presentation around Collision, where everybody cuts their promos to start the show, and then it's just kind of straightforward wrestling. I just think that kind of consistency is what helps Collision when it's good.
Yep.
Because you know what you're getting. And I think that kind of a lot of the issues that I had with Dynamite this week, which was not nearly as good as this episode of Collision.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what works for Collision is that, it has a consistent format and pace to it.
Yes, exactly. That's what I like. Every Collision, you like know what it's going to be. They're going to have hot matches. The pacing of it's going to be great. They're telling you what you're going to see presented in the story. And like you said, it's just straightforward. They're like, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. Here's some hot matches. Here's some hot angles. We're getting to it. It feels refreshing. It feels like a Saturday wrestling show. That's what I like about it a lot. It's just like something about it feels Saturday.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some of the complaints with Collision sometimes is it's just straightforward matches, and yeah, if you just want to see some good matches on a Saturday, it's an outlet. But it's kind of like a lot of these matches feel inconsequential at times. It kind of feels like, oh, here's a way to get this person on to give them a W, kind of like what Dark was at some points. But I thought with this episode in particular, they did make a point of stacking it with big matches and like you said, giving you stories to advance, and stories that are unique to Collision. That's why I thought some of the complaints of, hey, why is this happening on Collision? I don't know, because it's a storyline that has been on Collision all along, and it's going to culminate on Grand Slam Collision. Maybe you want to promote this Collision thing on Collision.
Yeah, Toni Storm has had a lot of big moments on Collision, and Mariah May. Like a lot of Mariah's best backstage promos were showcased on Collision. They've kind of been carrying a lot of the load of this feud on Collision, so it makes so much sense that they would carry it out there again.
Yeah, but starting the show with Samoa Joe, Nick Wayne. I believe this match was supposed to be on Dynamite. I'm not sure what happened with it, that it got rescheduled here. But I thought that this was a good showcase for Nick Wayne. He showed a lot of craftiness. He's one of those guys where I'm like, man, let this kid wrestle more. He's great.
Yeah. It's you get I just want him to have time to shine and have matches. He gets kind of caught up in the shenanigans of what the patriarchy does, and like he plays the bumper guy, and sometimes it's like, damn dude, like Nick Wayne has so much more to give out and showcase. And so getting a big match with Samoa Joe here I thought was great. Samoa Joe, I mean, just everything Samoa Joe is great, from the entrance, the way that he nonchalantly moves through matches, but then turns up the intensity and is going to murder somebody. Like Samoa Joe they have to use him because we don't know how much longer we have Samoa Joe, but he needs to be in big angles and big matches and big time because he still has what people love.
Yeah. When I was watching this, I was like, yeah, there's a reason why that match he had with Hook made Hook look the way he did. And it was the same here. He made Nick Wayne look good, even in defeat.
He's good at those.
He's really good at that. We got a very good Okada Commander match. I mean, it was pretty much a sprint. It wasn't a long match, but I really enjoyed this.
There's some, it feels like Okada continues to represent that. What is this match? Anytime they announce like some wild matches, like I never believed that this person and Okada would have a random fun match on a Saturday night. And that's exactly what this was. When they announced it, I was like, oh shit, that's interesting. That's cool. I like both of these guys. And then like to see Okada in sprints and like having fun and just doing bits is really, really great. Commander has that. he's so good at sprints because he has so many wild ass spots that he could bust out at any time, and like the match could be changed into the craziest match you've seen in an instant. So like, just he's tremendous. I love me some Commander.
Yeah, I thought that these guys did well with just the quick short match they got. Commander again just continues to be such a great utility guy. You put him in there and ask for a solid match in 9 minutes, and
Yeah,
this is where we're gonna get. It kind of almost feels like this was the hologram spot at one point. Hologram comes in and gives you the flippy match. We got a little bit of a update on on Hologram. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Big Hollow Gang on Saturday nights.
yeah. Now this definitely would have been Okada and Hologram right here. You're 100% right.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that it was used, it kind of feels like this was like the Hologram spot.
Yep.
We got a 6-man Undisputed Era taking on Big Danny Garcia and the 2.0 guys. When I watched this, I was thinking, hey, man, when they present trios wrestling like this and it's two trios that people care about, I think this is the way to build a trio division and get people invested in this. And this is kind of what I would like to see them doing moving forward. And maybe just put the trios belts on Collision and build it up and make it a fixture over there. You know, something where we actually see the belts, you know.
Phil, if we had the Undisputed Era, Undisputed Kingdom as the trios champions and they were doing matches like this every Saturday night, I think we're making a lot of money. That's been a big problem with the Death Rider stuff, like beyond the Jon Moxley stuff. The trios champions are here and Jon Moxley's belts in a briefcase. We don't know where the fuck their belts are. They could be anywhere in the world. They don't show them on TV at all. They don't talk about them being trios champions, like nothing. And then you see matches like this with, like you said, trios that people are involved with and people want to see win, and it just, you're like, oh yeah, that's what the trios division is supposed to represent. That's how it's supposed to be. I have some questions though about the participants in this match, Phil, because how do you feel about Danny Garcia and where he's at this position? Because like, it's the people were into it and it was great and it represents something, but he's the TNT champion. Shouldn't it be something else?
I think they've got to get back to doing open challenges for that belt. I think that he would excel at that. I think that that's another thing that you could get a lot of use on Collision, but I don't think they've booked his reign as champion well.
Like, is this like it kind of feels like they're leading to one of the guys on the other side, one of the Undisputed guys, maybe challenging him for the belt, but it doesn't feel like we just talked about the Sheldon thing. Remember, Sheldon held out the belt on after their match in the Continental Classic, felt like he was going to be one, and they just moved away from that. And now it feels like they could be using this trio stuff to move towards Garcia and potentially Adam Cole or Garcia and any of those guys. And it feels like that could be something, but it hasn't been a lot of, Danny hasn't got a lot to hold on to, like moving forward here. Like it feels like anything he's given, he's definitely excelled in it, but he needs to be put into a higher position. And I think definitely the open challenge is just the easiest way to do this. This belt represents that. It's Collision. You can bring in different guys. Like he would just excel way more in that position. So I hope they move towards that.
Yeah, of course, out of this match, we got the announcement for tonight's show where we're getting Kyle versus Lee versus Dan Garcia. That should be a good match. But I do think that out of this, we could possibly get Garcia versus Adam Cole, and that could be a big match for Garcia. I don't know if you continue to build that for the next pay-per-view, but you got to start doing something to that degree with him because it's been really kind of barren since the Continental Classic.
Adam Cole, do you let Adam Cole win that championship?
That's the problem you have when you book that match, because once you put those two together and we start doing the usual metrics of star power and all these other things, it's always going to be tempting to just put the belt on Cole. But I don't know. I just wish that they had booked this reign and Private Party's reigns better.
It's just that because Adam Cole, like, soon as that theme hit, it's like, oh yeah, it's still like that for Adam Cole. And like seeing him in the Casino Battle Royal, and when he was locked up with the other big names, it was like, oh yeah, Adam Cole is still Adam Cole when he's put into the position. So I'm like, if he was TNT champion, like it would hit. But it's just so unfortunate for Danny because like I think he has so much in this run, and he still could be turned around.
Yeah, I think he still can salvage this, but
like the match tonight's gonna be dope.
Yeah, I wish that they were giving him a bit more to do. You got to get to it. You know how quickly wrestling fans move on, especially with the amount of great wrestlers on this roster. It's like, okay, if this isn't hidden with him, all right, put this belt on somebody else. And I just don't want that to happen to Dan.
That is how wrestling fans move. AEW fans specifically, they're like, all right, it's been this much. We're good. Let's try something else.
Yeah. When the trio stuff was happening, I then again thought of this close up. I know we talked about it a little bit on Ask Grapsody. They teased the close up interview on Collision, and then they teased a bit more of it on Dynamite. And it seemed like they answered a lot of our questions from last week. They gave us the answer on why Yuta's joined them, why he's been doing all this stuff since Brian left, and I thought it was great. They gave us a definitive answer on Pac. Why did Pac join them? Pac sitting in a sauna and answering these questions. Very, very funny. And he's just like doing the very British, no, there are rats here, there, and all this other stuff. I loved it. Even we got a chance to hear from Marina. Claudio gave his explanation as to why they follow Mox, why he is the true king of AEW. All of it worked. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that this was filmed at Moxley's house. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. That's what it felt like the energy was. I don't know for sure, but it felt like that's what everything presented, that it felt like it was his house. Yeah, it felt like this is what they needed to get across for months. The things, a lot of the questions that we've kind of asked, and the reason that we've been upset at a lot of this, because like, we don't know what the hell you guys want. We don't know why you're here, why you keep beating everybody up. What's the point of all this? And so Moxley starts getting into it, the part about the world champion. Like, what do you want to see the world championship for? It's in me. It's inside me. It's inside Claudia. I'm like, wait, what do you want to take a picture of it? I'm like, yeah, we do kind of want to take a picture of it.
Why you need to see the belt? Huh? Why you need to see the belt? You want to take a picture with it? Huh? You want to take a selfie with it? You want to see me hold it up over my head? That's not what this is for. You don't even know what a championship is, huh? Why are you even asking questions, huh?
I like those bits. Like, you're right. I'm hearing you. I understand what you're saying, but then also at the same time, you're adding in some other things that I'm not really understanding that you're saying. So it's like, it's kind of all over the place.
He said a lot of things that I thought were great story beats. Like when he, to tie it back to the Claudio thing at the start of it, when Claudio's saying we follow him because he's the true king. Every time, somebody got injured and they needed somebody to step up, they called on John. When somebody else, and yes, we're talking about you, when you didn't step up, John did. All of this stuff made sense. And then when you tie that back to what John said, of John saying, I'm not just trying to tear this company down. I'm trying to build a place where it doesn't have to just rely on me. I'm trying to have 10 John Moxleys. I'm trying to have 1,000 John Moxleys by putting people through what I went through. Oh, that makes sense. I get it. But yeah, some of the stuff of him pacing back and forth, and he looks very anxious and manic. His eyes are like darting around, and he's like yelling at the camera, like, "Why are you even asking questions? Just enjoy the ride. What you're asking questions? You don't even know the right question to answer. You don't even know the game we're playing." It's like I don't. That's why I'm trying to figure it out, John.
Yeah,
like, wait, hold on.
This is why we're asking the questions. Like, you're rejecting the questions. This is why we're asking all the questions. So yeah, there's like parts of it that like I think they tied some loose ends and they made it happen. But then it's like, Adam Cope is still, and the FTR are still after you though, John Moxley. So I don't really know if what you're saying is going to apply to what's going on here.
Yeah, I do think that they addressed some of my issues with the inner workings of this group and how we haven't gotten this stuff on TV. I still think that they should have answered these questions sooner and on television. I still think the missing piece with them, and the thing that people liked about Blackpool Combat Club, is that we got more segments with those guys as a group, and it made you care about them. And I don't think there's enough of that on TV. It's just the same repetitive beatdowns, and I think that's what people are not really in for. And then I think the other part is that people just don't really want to see Copeland challenge for the belt because it doesn't really fit the story you've been telling up to this point. And I personally like FTR, but it kind of feels like FDR is kind of cold because they weren't doing anything, and then you brought them back, and it's like, oh, here's FDR with another big name star again, and it's like, it kind of feels like we've seen this before, and it doesn't feel like they've done enough to differentiate it and make it interesting.
Yeah, it feels like the exact same thing that they were doing in CM Punk. With CM Punk, they have like a special name together. They have a T-shirt. They keep hanging out together. But it's like, why? Just because FTR likes these type of guys? Like, tell us what's going on here.
This is our friend. Like, just the same as when they were doing the thing with FTRKO and the other ones that they've done. It's like I feel like we've seen like these kind of groups with FTR and a big single star, but what makes this different?
And FTR should be in the tag division anyways. Like what's going on here? What are y'all doing? Or if they want to be trios, like put these guys in the trios division. Like there's a lot of things on the extracurriculars that are still head scratchers.
Yes. I was glad that this answered some questions. I do think the stuff on Wednesday wasn't great though. But this shows that at least that they can see that there's issues with it and they are trying to address it.
Yeah, that's my favorite part is at least some things are being answered. There's still, it still feels like we're going to get like a Cope main event Revolution match. That still is not, I'm not looking forward to that at all. But they are trying to add some beats and lead us through the way of this.
Yeah. What'd you think of his line in this of, you don't even know how to reach me. You don't even know how to climb a mountain. I was like, oh, that sure seems like to point to we're going to get back to this Darby match.
It's so long, Phil. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I keep thinking about. Is like that's gonna be ages from now. And if you think you're gonna sell me on waiting for Darby to be the one to beat you, you can't sell me on that.
Yes. Speaking of tag division, we did get the rebranding of House of Black here, Hounds of Hell. I thought that the presentation around this I really like. I like all of the people involved in this, so I want this to succeed. And man, if you're just trying to add an act that people already like and add them to the tag division, that division very much needs something like this. And if we're building to those two guys versus Hurt Syndicate, sign me up.
Yeah, somebody was mentioning earlier about the women's division becoming the Haas women's division. No, the tag team division is also becoming the Haas division. These guys, the new Hounds of Hell, fucking killing it. Brian Cage and Lance Archer. I'm like, there's some big, meaty, dangerous fools being set up to challenge the Hurt Syndicate, the biggest and the baddest. I'm like, the tag division is where it's really starting to shine. I think Buddy and Brody are starting to shine even bigger with like Malachi not kind of looming over them. That black cloud of like, we know what their new purpose is. We know what they're doing moving forward. They got the new theme. They got the new presentation. Like it feels better for them. And if they're going to be in the tag division, that's just going to make the tag divisions even better. Like starting to be some giant fools in that division.
Yeah, I think that's exciting. Putting them in there with Gates of Agony, I really like those guys. Khan is one of those guys where I'm like, bro, you guys got something. This guy, it looks like $1 million. Like, I don't know, get to it. I don't know what the holdup is, but get to it with this guy.
I do like what they've been doing with the Gates of Agony recently, though. They've been giving them more promo time. Like, if you've been keeping up with Collision, they've been kind of giving you a little backstory on what the Gates of Agony are and who they represent and what they want to be moving forward. So this is exciting to see them in this position. But just like you said, anytime I see Khan, I'm like, what's going on here? This guy's a superstar, I think. Like, the way he talks, the way he moves, his confidence, I'm like, this guy wants the brass ring, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Dynamic. I think that's the thing that I always think when I see him. Like, it ain't too many guys in wrestling that look like that guy that comes out like represent his culture the way he does. Like I said, looks like $1 million. Like, they got something in him. They gotta figure it out, man. And I
he has
always
like
thought
that football quickness. Like there's something about he comes out like the gate really fast. Like he just represents something different than so many other wrestlers.
Yeah, and I've always thought that when he was in Shane Taylor Promotions, I was like, that guy right there. Like, y'all got to figure it out with him, man.
Still trying to figure it out with him, you guys. But I get it. It's a lot. It's a big roster. It's a lot going on. But put them in the tag division too. Another Haas team that's going to be throwing them bricks. Like I think we're doing that thing.
Yeah. Ended the night with a really good main event. Easily the best match of the night. Best match I think we saw all Saturday night, and not surprising because this is what Takeshita does at this point. But yeah, I really loved this main event. Takeshita took on Katsuyori Shibata. Again, these two guys, not really shocked that this match was really good. I don't think anybody that has seen these two wrestlers should think this wasn't going to be a great match.
Yeah, there's like matches that are announced where like Takeshita's gonna like fucking be the man because he's been MVP for a year plus now. But like you just know he wants to really give it up to Shibata, and that's what this whole match felt like. Of like these guys going at it. Like Shibata feels like he never was retired. He never was anything like that. He's out here fighting like you would never think. I think back to the match that he had with Tanahashi earlier this month, and I'm like, man, this is way different than that. This fool's out here fighting for real with Takeshita, and Takeshita wasn't holding back. He's throwing these bombs like he always does, throwing the Blue Thunder bomb like he always does. This is just like a really great main event to showcase Takeshita, especially with the, with this feud they have going on and the position that he's been in. You need to get him some established wins, especially leading into Grand Slam in Australia. Like he still is the international champion, and he still should be represented as that. This is a really good match.
Yeah, really loved this match. I thought that this was a good way to cap off a very good episode of Collision with all the stuff that happened. I've seen people saying that this was the best Collision of the year, which is, of course, partially internet hyperbole because, I mean, it's January. Like, it just there hasn't been a whole bunch of 2025 as a sample serving. But I do think, like, since at least, like, the Hammerstein shows, this does feel like the best episode of Collision I've seen in a long time. But even the Hammerstein shows was just, like, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, I thought it was a really strong show. That's kind of would be the thing competing with Saturday night's main event. They're going to bring something extra, but just them telling the story of what AEW Collision kind of is, and like no matter what, we're still just going to present really great wrestling on it.
Yeah. So I did see a lot of that, and I kind of felt like people hyping it up because they felt like it was better than Saturday Night Main Event. So it's like, this is the best episode of Collision of the year. And when I watched it, I was saying, okay, this is a lot of the stuff you come to expect from Collision, straightforward matches. And I think the good thing about it is, like I said earlier, we did get the story elements. We did get the four-way with the women that led to something on Dynamite. So it felt like this stuff mattered. Right.
Yeah. If anytime they could tell stories and not just feel like there's matches, because sometimes it is what you're describing. They would have squash matches on Collision. They would have like matches with teams. Like I like the Premier Athletes. I like those guys. But like anytime you saw them, you kind of knew what the thing was going to be. Anytime you saw like the Iron Savages, you knew what this was going to be. Collision started to kind of become that show, and it's like, no, add a little bit more of importance to this. Like those guys could be featured, but you still have to feature the other big time players too. That gets people to watch this show.
Yeah, I think you needed Collision to deliver currently going up against Saturday Night Main Event, but also building towards Grand Slam. There's been a lot of conversation about how poorly Grand Slam is being promoted and some of the stuff around it, like when is this thing gonna air? They haven't been really clear on that. And what are the matches? We only got 2 matches announced. So yeah, this is 2 weeks away at this point. You gotta get to it. You gotta get this information out.
2 weeks from today is the day. There's only 2 matches announced. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, just a tag match and a women's match so far.
And then there's the mystery on, like you said, when they're going to play. There's like a basketball game that they have to wait till it's over. Like it's going to be interesting metrics to do that day. It's so interesting though because they have Max now. Like, I wonder how that's going to factor into it. Are they just going to wait for the whole thing? Is it going to simulcast at the same time? Do you just start it as soon as it starts on Max, or is it they probably have the deal with the TV station? I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume it's some kind of deal with TNT that they don't want to simulcast it. So I don't know, but yeah, you got to clarify these things. It's in 2 weeks.
It's in 2 weeks.
We kind of need to know when this is going to air. I've seen some places say that it's 10:30, so right after all the All-Star festivities on Saturday.
Yeah,
but that hasn't been confirmed from what I've seen.
And how does that? Is that? I mean, I guess it doesn't work what time you play it, but that's people are. You think people are going to be like waiting around for this thing? Like, it's going to be interesting because it's Collision 2 is Saturday. There's so many bits that go into it.
Right. Yeah, I know at one point they had 8:30 as the time as well, but again, these kind of confusions aren't helping with people that are, that do have valid criticisms about the way this has been promoted. And then, of course, you've got the bad face people like, why isn't this being treated like a pay-per-view? Because it's not a pay-per-view. It's never been a pay-per-view. Grand Slam has never been a pay-per-view. Why are you now trying to treat it like a pay-per-view now?
People want to treat it like a pay-per-view so bad. Like, but that was the main complaint. People were complaining because it was on Wednesdays and they were stuck in Queens, and that's been the thing of Grand Slam this whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it eventually becoming like a pay-per-view name for them, but they've never said that this was a pay-per-view. I think just because it's in Australia, people want to say that's a pay-per-view, but it's never been called a pay-per-view in its entire time. Like, I don't know.
People want it to be that. Like, it should be presented as a big show, and it should be all that, but not paying a pay-per-view show.
Right. And, but I do think that they could have promoted this better. The fact that it's not going to be live because of the time zones, and then you've got it coinciding with All-Star Weekend, probably could have handled this better.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it should be dope.
Yeah. Strong episode of AEW Collision, highlighted by, I think, for me, the moment of the week. I was wondering when the ball was going to drop with this Toni Storm stuff and how they were going to pull it off. And turns out they did it very well. Sometimes things happen in wrestling, and we've been watching these things as long as we have. And when something is like really good, I don't know if you still have these moments where something really good happened and you're like thinking about it later that night and you end up rewatching it. Like that's what happened when The Rock came back and he was cutting those promos. Like, I ended up watching those videos like multiple times because it was just so great. It just reminded me of being a kid and sitting in front of my TV. This was very much the same thing for me. This was very, very good. That fan base loves Toni Storm. I mean, from the beginning of the show when they had Toni do her promo at the beginning of the show, everybody else did theirs, but when it got to Toni, you could hear that big pop for her from the inside of the arena. Crazy stuff. Having Mariah come out and Mariah keeping the character arc very clear, keeping her motives very clear of like, I never liked you. I always hated you. I just thought that you were stupid and I could get over on you and I could take your championship. But when I look at you, I see nothing. I never wanted to be like you. You do not matter to me. Which I was sitting there with, because we've bought in at this point. They brought Toni back as like Toni the rookie, and she's just happy to be here. And you're expecting this to like crush her, and she's just like is sitting there listening to her say all of this, and her facial expressions during it are great because she's looking like uncomfortable and awkward. And then when she gets the mic, she goes, "Mariah May, I want to be just like you," and she's running down, staying in the bit. And when she when she started doing it, I was like, "This is brilliant." I didn't pick up on it until that very moment, but I was like, she's doing exactly what Mariah did to her when she came to AEW. She's doing the same exact plot, doing the same mind game stuff. I don't know what you mean. I want to be like you. I've watched all of your stuff. I've watched you in Stardom. I've watched you in England. I've watched you here. I want to be just like you. So when she hugged her and they did the same kind of optic, just flipped, it's like, this is very, very smart.
That's pretty brilliant.
And then, of course, Mariah afterwards beat her down. We get the beat down angle, and we think that that's going to be the end. And fantastic camera work of this, of the camera staying on Mariah while she's getting ready to go back, because we are looking at it like this is the end of the segment, and then we hear the timeless Toni Storm voice for the first time, and she's like, "What makes you think I have forgotten?" And that reaction, like you can hear almost like the air leave the room, and that big pop of that reaction to her switching from the accent. And again, this is just, man, Toni Storm is so good because her mannerisms as just Toni Storm when she came back, her voice and everything, totally different. When she flipped to timeless Toni Storm, a switch went off. Everything completely changed.
Dog, she was a completely different character. Like her facials, like going from rookie Toni Storm to timeless Toni Storm in an instant, and you could just see it by her body language, her facial, her movements, her voice. I'm like, this is tremendous work right here. Hitting that line, Phil, and the crowd being like shock, awe, surprise, happy, like all the emotions you could elicit out of just hearing one sentence, and like just getting that feeling, her ripping off the clothes and just showing that timeless Toni Storm's back. They say that the hardest character you ever play is yourself. Like, amazing work. Like everything that went into just this a little bit of time, because I didn't know what was happening, where they were going with this, or if it was going to happen, I guess, so quickly. Feels like I'm liking this rookie Toni Storm thing. I'm liking what she's doing here. How long is this going to go on? Because she has to transition to her next character. I thought that they would transition back to the timeless character eventually, but I think it would happen so quickly. But fans wanted it, and it hit so hard and perfectly. Mariah May played a perfect role too, of like her facials in this. The promo that she cut was great, being like, I used you. The greatest moments you've ever had in AEW are off what I did for you. I was like, no, Mariah May is kind of spitting. And then for her reactions and everything in the segment, great work from both ladies.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. We saw again here, because like you said, Mariah has proven throughout this run and in this segment that she's a good talker. But Toni, when that flip switched, then she's timeless Toni Storm again. When she got fired up and started cutting the promo, I mean, the delivery of the promo throughout. When she drops the line of, I'm timeless Toni Storm and I'm going to rip your tits off, like, bro, that crowd went nuts because it's Toni, like, bro. Incredible. This segment was amazing. Like I said, I've watched it more than once at this point. Really, really good stuff.
It just shows you the difference how different things could be when you see somebody that's really doing it and really locked in and really being that character. It's just like, it doesn't make everybody look less than, but it makes everybody look like you need to step it up. Because like, just like you described how she hit that line, like she knows, like, it's not a catchphrase completely, but the tits thing is a thing. So when I say this, it's going to elicit some kind of emotion, and to hit it, how hard as she hits it, and it goes just like the crowd becomes ravaged in it. Like, she really understands 100% of how to present timeless Toni Storm. And it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, she's committed to this character. She knows who this character is. And man, she killed this. Mariah killed it. I thought the way she looked shook when she flipped, like, I thought I killed you. I got rid of you. Mm-hmm. I expected you to just go back to being like mousy Toni Storm after I beat you. Did not work at all. I thought that this was a great way to build to this match. And I see people saying in the chat already, I hate to break it to you, I think Toni's going to win. Toni is very much over. I just don't know how you can come out of this with how over Toni is and not put the belt back on her.
It kind of feels like the Dan Garcia bit, though, with Mariah May, because I feel like she hasn't really gotten complete the opportunities that she should to shine. Like, she's gotten more than Danny, but I still feel like there's legs to the reign. And I'm like, I don't know if it's Toni's time, but hearing and seeing and viewing Toni, I'm like, it is Toni's time all the way. Denise brought up a great point, though. She was like, you don't want to continue. We're going back to Toni Storm. She'll be 4-time world champion if we do it again. It's almost like, don't we want to try some new things?
Yeah, and see, this is sometimes how my issue with wrestling sometimes, because this whole somebody else deserves a turn thing, I just don't think that's how this works. When you have somebody that is over and as hot as this is, that has been consistent the way she is, You got to ride this as long as you can. And that doesn't mean make her like a 12-time champion or anything crazy like this. But like currently, right now, what you have in Timeless Toni Storm, she is undebatably the best character in the division. Like, it's not even close. So you just go, oh, don't put the belt back on her because Mariah's time is not over. Mariah's going to get another reign, man. Like, if you can put this belt on Toni and head into some of your big pay-per-views and book big matches around this, because you got to get to Toni Mercedes at some point. You got to get to Toni versus some of these other big names. But like Toni as champion, as a babyface, is different than what we got. So I don't think it's necessarily doing the same thing over again. I think it's that you've got something hot right now and you got to run with it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I think that we get too locked into that thing, and then like it's going to be 2 years, and then the time is going to pass. If you got a hot wrestler, one of the hottest wrestlers, not just in her division, Phil, in the entire company, and she has been for the better part of a year, specifically with this character, the iron's hot. Fucking do it, dog. Like, we need big thing. We need, if we're talking about this in the men's division with the men's world championship, it's kind of the same way. We need all things go. Everybody needs to be at the top of their class. They need to be as hot as we can. And if we're leading the way with the hot, super hot Toni Storm as the world champion, like, we got to do it. We got to do it now.
Yeah. I mean, what do I look like saying for weeks? Your audience is telling you they want somebody else in this world title picture. This guy is hot. This guy is hot. Hangman is the best character in the company. People love this guy. Get this guy in the world title picture. But then also see their reaction to Toni and go, oh, well, it's Mariah's time. Like, just have her lose. Like, I don't think you should do that. I think with where Toni is, I think that, and it's not like, okay, put the title on her again and have her be champion for a year. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think the end to this story is Toni coming back and beating her. I don't think, and I mean, you could still do more with her and Mariah. You can do a third match, but I don't know. It sure feels like going into Australia, going into her home country. I don't know, man. I think,
and the pop of her getting a big win, Phil, in her home country is gonna be crazy.
I think Toni's winning this, guys. I don't know.
Like, if you want to, I'm not too super into like moments, but like beyond everything, the story of what everything's happening, Toni Storm as Timeless Toni Storm getting a big win on that show is gonna be massive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't know. I think Toni's winning. I can't see Mariah winning this. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is gonna be like a big heel win for her in Australia. That could work very well for Mariah, but
yeah,
I think she's had a good reign. She's been champion how many days at this point?
She won that All In August.
Yeah. She's been about 5 months.
That's a while. Like, I'm not with the every reign doesn't have to be a year's reign. Also at the same time, like, we could go for, if you're more than 3 or 4 months, like, you cook, like, I feel like that's a good time. Every championship doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be a hot potato situation, but it could be like, shit, somebody else came that's hotter, that's hungrier, that's ready to win the championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're in 160. I think we're at 160 days. Yeah, and I get also trying to build somebody else to beat Mariah as well, but I don't know. I understand you though, man.
Toni's so hot though. Like, you don't want to just pass that moment up.
Yeah. Jose Alvarado is saying, wouldn't it make more sense? Wouldn't winning the belt back in LA make more sense for Timeless Toni Storm? Sure, but also Toni coming into LA as champion, as a babyface, also makes a lot of sense.
I think home country win is bigger.
I think it is. I think the win there is bigger, and then her coming in with like getting the big entrance as champion at LA. I think all of that makes sense.
When they could tell the story with Hollywood and make, I think coming in as champion makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's going to be interesting though, but it could potentially be Mariah May though. She could be pulling the wool over everybody's eyes.
Could be. But yeah, what a great segment. What a great storyline that along the way I thought, all right, this is it. She beat her at All In. That's it. And even when Toni first came back and she's doing the rookie Toni Storm stuff, I was thinking, okay, I get it. Like this is eventually going to get us back to the match, but the way we got here was so good. That segment was way better than I thought it would be.
Amazing. Like it could have just Toni could have just hit the one line and got out of there, but then she finished it super strong. Everybody played a great role in this. Like it really, that's a big reason why people are saying this Collision was one of the best of the year, just because that segment was so fucking strong. Everything else almost felt like a cherry on top, you know?
Yeah, I saw someone add some subtext to this, and I don't know if this is the intention, but if it is, again, this is pretty brilliant. The idea of her coming back as Toni Storm in the way that she dressed and everything coming out of WWE, and the report at one point that they wanted to humiliate her by having like an undressed angle, and her coming into this and building the timeless Toni Storm character and having autonomy and the control over like the sexuality and innuendos herself and doing things her way, and not just coming in like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as Toni Storm again, but coming in like, this is my thing. I want to do this my way, and I've built this nuanced character in my own way. There's something that's really brilliant about that. I don't know if that's the intention, but if it is, kudos to everybody involved.
I'm like, whatever it is, it's amazing work. And for her to be able to switch, that's just tremendous, the switch that she made. For a person that's a wrestler and, you know, just these things, to be able to really lock in the character like that is amazing to see. But yeah, great segment, great work from both ladies, and I'm super excited to see their match next week.
Agreed.
Let's get into a few super chats before we get into this Royal Rumble talk. Tinruza says, Pub Rumble viewing here in Melbourne, 104 or 106 today. That's how hot it is?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I hope it's not that hot. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That's super hot. 104. Okay. Tinruza also says, Reg, you stand / be revealed behind a square curtain. You should stand behind and be. I want somebody to pull up a big curtain and I'm standing behind it. That would be amazing. The homie Shanika says, took me until Tuesday to thaw out from the show.
Yes. Yeah, it seemed like it was cold. That was funny at one point when commentaries like, it's the frigid 46 degrees. I was like, that's not that cold, guys. I know it's cold for Florida, but that's not that cold.
Look, Shanika, tell this for somebody's not used to that stuff. We're used to summertime weather all the time. I can't be cold out here. 46, I would have been freezing to death. I would have wore 3 jackets.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Shanika. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good one. The homie Meet Norma says the worst part of the Wizards' 16-game losing streak is it's their second of the season. One more loss and we set a franchise record. So I guess I'll watch the Rumble, but this company is nasty at the top.
Yeah, sorry, Meet Norma, that you don't have a good basketball team to watch. Yikes.
Second one of the year, Meet Normus. That's crazy. I mean, you know,
wow.
Sometimes it's you get joy in watching them be bad. I know it's a bad time. I appreciate it. I mean, I'm sorry for you. Very unfortunate situation to be a part of a team like that. But you know, life goes on. I think the next year they could get better. There's always time. There's always new players. There's always things.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate the generous super chat. Meet Normus, you're very dope. Hey, what's over there says, missed the pod last week. Make sure to catch it this week, especially after the Credit King announcement.
Credit King.
It's just been a time. Hey, what's over there? Appreciate you for showing up. So great. You're amazing support. Laurent Forrest says, I think Toni wins, but who do they have built up to challenge her next?
They've got some options. I still keep saying, when is Athena coming up? Because I feel like Athena makes a lot of sense for a challenger for the world title.
Mm-hmm.
and that's a heel you can use. Because I know immediately people are going to be like, well, if she beats this heel, who's left? I mean, Mercedes is a heel, guys.
Yes, sir.
And she has all the belts. That's
Mm-hmm.
about the biggest heel in the division right now outside of Mariah.
Yeah.
They've got heels and make some. You brought Megan Bain in. I'm assuming Megan's going to be a heel. You've got some wrestlers. You don't have to just go, oh, we have this one heel, so she can't lose.
Yeah. Stick her with Megan Bain. That could be your first thing. Like, she doesn't have to win the championship. They could be this thing. They have to just build up. They have to build them. That's it. I think they have the pieces to do it. They just have to do it.
Yeah. Deanna is a heel. Use Deanna on TV. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But just the idea of Toni coming back to LA and still having the belt and now this time getting the adulation she wanted in the first reign and doing the you like me, you really like me in LA, bro. You gonna tell me that's not gonna hit? Come on, dog.
It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit hard too. That's all of our super chats. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you guys. I don't believe we have any humper chats. We do not. So we are just going to hump. There are many moments where I'm like, this is why we're friends, because sometimes we think the same thing at the same time.
I know. That's the funniest part to me because I know you're thinking the same thing. That's the best part. Oh, yeah. All that jazz.
I think
Okay,
we got your. Did we get both your super chats, Leron?
No, he just submitted this other one. Leron Ford also says, follow-up question, how do they bring back Willow and Statlander to TV? Agree with you on Deanna, but they need to give her some wins.
Yeah, I think they've got to build Deanna up. I don't know. I still think the end goal for Willow is beating Mercedes, if I had to guess.
That's what I would think is going to happen. Like, that feels like the best story arc for her. Stat could potentially be the challenger for Toni, but she's doing they're trying to turn her baby face too, so I don't know how that totally will work out.
I think you got a built-in thing without having to turn her. Yeah, Toni is very hot. The fans are with her, but when you put her in there against like day one Statlander and people have been wanting to see her get this big win for years now, I don't think they're going to have a hard time getting the fans to pick who they want to cheer for.
That's true. Yeah. They got a division work. They got a whole bunch of people that could do it. I think Deanna, like, she does need some wins, but they could just give them to her and we'd be there.
Yeah.
Excellent. I appreciate you.
I just think they got to book her better, but I think we said that about more than one person. As good as Collision was, Dynamite was not as good. And it started good. I thought the first match was very good. But, boy, after that, we got that Jarrett-Claudio match, which I don't know why that match needed to be so long. And then I don't know why Claudio needed interference to beat Jarrett. I didn't like that. I thought the Yuta match was fine, but in the place that it was, I don't think that it helped the pacing. You put him out there with Jay White. Jay White is getting better and better with these Blade Runners, though, and
amazing.
Like Emilio was saying when he was on, he's slowly making this into the RKO where he hits this thing suddenly, and the RKO he hits in this match, great stuff, but this didn't feel like a match that needed to be in this spot. I don't know that it worked. I understand why you had to do it because you had to give Jay White some revenge. We got Tease and the Gun coming back, which I was excited for, but there was a lot of stuff on this show that I was like, why are we doing this? The thing that I will say that I really loved, and it's funny because it was like one of the smaller bits of the show, is the follow-up from the Hangman stuff, because we talked about it last week of them turning him face, and it seems like that's where we're going. We're going a redemption arc. That brief shot of him trying to go into Swerve's locker room, it looked like to make amends with him, but Swerve wasn't in there. And then he comes out, and immediately Renee's there. And it's like, what are you doing in there? And he's like, nothing. And then he runs into MJF, and we got to stare down. So I do think that the two things that we predicted last week are happening. It does seem like this is heading to the face turn, and it does seem like that's the big match for Revolution, Hangman versus MJF.
That was what's so amazing. I'm like, this little bit might have been the most intriguing bit of the whole show. Like, Hangman trying to walk into Swerve's locker room. I have 1,000 questions. What is he doing? Why is he doing that? Like, you know what I mean? There's so many interesting bits connected to that. We got to still tell the story. How does Swerve feel about this? Like, there's so many things connected to that. Great. Then he walks past Max, and I'm like, oh, I totally want to see this too. 1,000,000 fucking questions into that. Max cuts a promo being like, he has some issues with Hangman Page and how he moves compared to the way that how he moves. It's very interesting. It's going to be a great dynamic when they start to lock it up.
Yeah. What he says made me even more excited for the potential of these guys having a feud, because he has a point when he's saying, look, man, this guy burned down a house, and you guys are on the internet saying, like, he didn't do anything wrong, but you hate everything I do. What is this? I was like...
True story, man. Hangman Page has done some diabolical things. The worst thing in the world you could ever see. He burns a full child's home down. He's used a syringe through a fool's cheek, cinder blocks. Like, he's a dangerous man. Just ended Christopher Daniels' career, and the fans are still like, we love him. He's great. He's the best of all time. Max can't do anything right. He fucking breathes, and people are like, you're the worst wrestler of all time. You suck. We hate you. It's a big difference. I love it.
Yeah. And the fan bases that like him, that like Hangman, dead set against MJF. So
yes,
this dynamic makes perfect sense. Can't wait for this feud to start. Please hurry up and end this Jarrett stuff and move on.
Yeah, with the Jarrett bit, I felt exactly the same way. When they started to have all the Death Riders come down and they're tricking him, they're behind his back. I'm like, that's Claudio, though. We just saw him. It frustrated me, Phil, because I thought back to the Continental Classic and how dominant he was. And I was like, how did he go from that to having to outsmart Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah, I hated it. I hated it. And I don't dislike Jarrett. It's just like in this spot, I hated it, man. God, I hated it.
Yeah, it wasn't I see the story that they were trying to tell and what happened. I think the post-match stuff was great, though. Jarrett loses. Max comes out and thinks he's going to cut this big and passionate promo that just punches him in the mouth. And then Jarrett's just dead for the rest of the segment. That was pretty good. But like him looking like Super Jarrett to have to get taken down by the Death Riders was kind of a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I like the aftermath of the match, but yeah, I did not enjoy that, especially having Mox be the guy that jumped in there. I think this should have been played up of, no, you can't get near Mox until you get past Claudio. So to have Mox get in there and hit him with the paradigm shift to help Claudio win, nah. I think you could have easily gave this to like Marina. Marina came in and low blowed him or something, and that would have worked perfectly fine. And I still don't understand why you needed all of this interference to beat Claudio, but I think that part of it I didn't like either.
That made it even worse. It's like you can't get through Mox unless you get through me, but then you can still kind of get through Mox before you even get through me. Yeah, that's the part that's like, wait, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I would have just been fine with Claudio just fucking beating this fool in a clean match because it's fucking Claudio, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I get you're trying to spell out that Mox is a hypocrite. That's what you're supposed to take away from this. And it's again, you can see the influences in the Roman thing of him saying, I'm not afraid of anybody. I ain't afraid of Jarrett. But also, you did this to make sure Jarrett could not get through Claudio to get the match. Right. But at the same time, that works if this is like a younger, up-and-coming guy going to get Claudio. This is Jeff Jarrett. He did not need 3 people to beat Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett's taking on the whole squad. He's fighting from behind. Like, nah, I don't think you needed to do all this. It just goes, especially after like what we're talking about with Mox and this close. The thing that they did on the close up and the story you're trying to tell, and then like, oh, you guys are jumping Jeff Jarrett again after you just jumped the Rock and Roll Express. It's like, I don't really, not really what we're aiming for here.
Yeah, I didn't need it. Did not need it. But yeah, we've got a pay-per-view tonight.
It's tonight.
WWE Royal Rumble will be taking place in Indianapolis.
I thought you were gonna pull up for a bit there.
I did want to go at one point, couldn't get the things to line up, but we'll see my face again on this channel tonight. I will be hosting the post show with Iridian.
Two Chicagans.
Two Chicago folks trying to link up and give those two Cali folks on the other channel run for their money. Can't quite call us the Chicago connection.
Whoa, it's beef. We beefing like that? That's crazy. I'm about to text Denise.
Yeah. Can't call us the Chicago connection because I don't believe in gimmick infringement. But
it's in my check.
we will be doing the post show tonight after Royal Rumble. I might try to come up with something that sounds better than Chicago Connection. By then.
You got a couple hours to do. You got a couple hours to get into it. Yes, same thing. Four matches, not even 5 matches this time, Phil.
Yeah, 4 matches, which makes sense with the kind of matches you have on this show. I still think we've got to move away from this 5-match card format, but it kind of makes more sense
differently on Royal Rumble because both Royal Rumbles are like an hour each.
And you've got a 2 out of 3 falls match on this show as well. That's going to be a long match, so I get it. I get why you're going with 4 matches. I wish that there was more representation for the women. I wish there was a women's championship match on this card, but it is what it is. Yes, you got to take the good with the bad. We've been saying for the longest, put tag team wrestling on the card. We are finally getting a tag team championship match on a pay-per-view, so, you know.
It's a wild match, too. Like, if somebody would have told me 5 years ago, oh, Royal Rumble 2025, it'll be for the tag team championships on the show, the Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY, I'd be like, that sounds crazy. I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah. But, yeah, start off. We do have DIY taking on Motor City Machine Guns, 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. I don't know how I see this going. I cannot. It's tough for me to predict the outcome to this. I almost want to say this is how you get back to the Motor City Machine Guns as champions, but I also don't think they're done with DIY. I think they're going to continue to do the chase. So, you know, if you put a gun to my head, I'm going to say DIY is going to pick up the win.
It's a tough one because I kind of feel like this is where they were going to get the big victory. I feel like the initial thing was like they were testing out the waters, but I feel like this was going to be the big Motor City Machine Guns victory. But I think they like the direction of what DIY is doing. So just off what you were describing earlier with the DX kind of influence, I got to go with DIY just with what's going on currently. I feel like, okay, yeah, I feel like they got a good time right now to retain these tag team championships.
Yeah.
Their dad's inducted into the Hall of Fame and shit, you know?
Yeah. The Thin Crust Collective. The Thick Crust Collective is hilarious. It's in the suggestion box.
The Thick Crust Collective is crazy.
Thick Crust Collective is hilarious. Shout out to AJ Francis. I believe that's the real AJ Francis in our chat. Shout out to him.
Oh, AJ Francis is in our chat. Shout out to AJ. What's up, homie?
Yeah, he says, can you send Hunter the We Outside MP3 for my new interest music? I'm number 30.
AJ, I think you have greater influence than we do to get Hunter an MP3. Probably work a little easier if you go out there.
Yeah. I think you might have the number. I don't have the number.
That's bad. I don't got that.
I don't have the Dropbox. Sorry.
Mine just probably blocked too. Like if I did try to text him, like they don't be liking what I be saying.
But, yeah, DIY has, of course, like they're pretty famous for 2 out of 3 falls matches. They had some very notable ones on NXT. So I think this is going to hit. And of course, it's Motor City Machine Guns, one of the all-time great tag teams. I expect this to be a fire match.
If this is going to open the show, like this feels like one of my favorite Royal Rumbles of all time. Royal Rumble 2000 starts out with the Hardys versus the Dudleys in a tables match. And like that energy, it feels like, again, that's what kind of energy it's going to be. Like, you know, the format of what great WWE matches are these days, the Motor City Machine Guns fucking formatted that. So getting to see them in a big match, a big moment, it's going to be really great.
Yes. Also got Cody versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship. Undisputed again because now there are 2 belts, even though it's like the belt's already undisputed, but it'll be even more undisputed, I guess.
It's double undisputed.
The build to this match has been strong. I just still think they did this whole Winged Eagle thing because they didn't want to outright put the belt on Kevin Owens. That's a little nitpick on my part, but overall, I think the build to this has been great. Kevin Owens has been great throughout this build. Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes, but I think we all know Cody Rhodes is going to win.
Phil, wouldn't it have made more sense for him to actually win it though? Like this would, like it would have been a lot. Like if Owens would have won the belt when they initially did that match at Saturday Night's Main Event and been carrying it around and all this, and now they're gonna face off and Cody's gonna win it back at Royal Rumble, would have probably felt like a bigger moment for me, right? It made more sense.
I would think so, but I don't know.
Whatever.
I would think so.
Kevin Owens did get to parade around like he is the WWE champion, so that's fun. They brought that belt back, which is awesome. And it is leading to a ladder match. And you know Kevin Owens, when he's in a plunder match, he always has something wild cooked up. I'm sure he has some kind of crazy spot hooked up. Interested to see if old Cody will get some color out there because, you know, he likes those things. These ladders like to slip and fall all over the place. It's an interesting concept because the last time we saw Cody in a ladder match was the Sammy one with the big diamond cutter. So what's in store coming off of that?
Yeah, that was his last AEW match, was the ladder match with Sammy. 5-star match, if I remember correctly. So I expect this to be another heater. It's Kevin Owens. It's Cody Rhodes. I do think this is going to be the best match of their trilogy, if I predict.
I agree, too. And they've had some good ones already.
Yeah, but, I mean, Cody Rhodes is winning this match, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so confused as why they didn't give it to Kevin Owens these couple of weeks, because he would have had to run with it. But like, it's WrestleMania season. It's time for Cody to really lock in. Like, Cody's going over for sure.
Yeah. The centerpiece of this pay-per-view, the 2 Royal Rumble matches. For me, my favorite time of the year, I think Royal Rumble is the best pay-per-view for WWE of the year. I think it's the most accessible pay-per-view outside of WrestleMania because it's such an easy concept to get into. It kind of has that same crowd participation of like a game show. It has all of the surprises. It's a nice reset for all the storylines, and man, it's Royal Rumble, man. Like I said, it's my favorite WWE pay-per-view.
I mean, actual excitement, actual surprises. It feels like you don't know what's going to happen. And I've seen a lot of people this year on social media talking about how this year's men's pay-per-view is one of the most exciting, most unpredictable they've seen in a long time. I think the women's is kind of on the same spectrum. Like, I think that there's more than like, we know specifically this is set up for Cody to win because we know what the WrestleMania main event is, or you know what I mean? Like, this feels like a little bit more open and a little bit more expanded, which is exciting. That's how it should always be.
Yes. I would say with the women's match, they've done less to build up the storylines for the women than they have on the men's. I think they did a great job on the men's side of building up people that could potentially win and setting up all of the top baby faces as like to give them their motives of wanting to win it. They haven't done as well with that on the women's side, but I kind of think the reason they haven't is because the surprise returns are going to be such a big deal in this match, and I think somebody returning is going to win it.
Becky Lynch.
That's kind of my guess. I have the same pick. I think that Becky is going to return in this pay-per-view.
I think that's what the winner is.
Sean broke the news, I believe, in January that Becky has been on contract. At one point, she was a free agent last summer, but she is back on contract. There was a chance at one point that people assumed she was going to be on the Raw on Netflix. So when she didn't show up there, I thought it was pretty obvious. All right, she's probably going to be in the Royal Rumble. And she's been saying for the longest that she wants to be the first woman to win 2 Royal Rumble matches. I think this is the year. I think she's going to win.
And that pop when she comes out tonight is going to be fucking gigantic. Like, it feels like all of the odds are in her favor. Like, if I was a betting man, I'd probably be putting my money on Becky Lynch. There was talk this week of her and her husband signing a new like management deal and things. So things are happening. They're moving. They're making money. Becky Lynch is 100% my pick to win the Women's Royal Rumble tonight.
Yes. Charlotte also will be in the Rumble. They announced that, but that's also why I think Becky's going to be the big surprise, because they went out of their way to announce Charlotte so she's not the surprise entrant. Initially, at one point, there were only 10 women announced for the Rumble. I think as of last night, it's up to 14.
Almost half.
As opposed to the men's side, where 18 men have already been announced for the men's Rumble. I think like the big one, Jordan. Jordan has said that she's going to celebrate her mother's birthday. She will not be at the Rumble. I don't believe you, Jordan. I do think you're going to be in the Rumble.
Yeah, you're right now. You guys are opening presents and getting it all together, laying out the picnic table. All right, Jordan, you're backstage going over your spots for this damn match tonight. Don't play with us. We've been seeing your talk for the last year, it feels like, and how excited you are to be a part of this company. 100% going to see her in this tonight. And I'm excited because I'll stick it back to her thing last year and how crazy she went and how like a step above everybody she was. And I want to see how the contrast is today with a lot of women stepping up and them getting a lot of new additions from like NXT and things that are happening here. Do we see Jade return tonight, Phil?
I do think that's the other big surprise kind of story element to it. I do think she's going to come back and attack who she thinks attacked her, which could lead to her throwing Naomi or Bianca out of the ring. But I do think we're going to get something from that whodunit with Jade, and I do think this is the way to bring her back. And you're going to have like kind of the full circle stuff with her and Bianca because they had to stare down last year.
Do you think, since, you know, we're speculating on Becky Lynch, do you need to have any other surprises then? Like, because that's like, I mean, because you could just spend the other time showcasing like the NXT women. Like those are the kind of surprises, but you don't need anything else super with Becky Lynch being back there, right?
Maybe. I think we're probably going to see a legend because they haven't done a whole bunch of legends in the Rumble in a while.
That's true.
I think Roxanne's an easy call from NXT. She's been on SmackDown recently. She's had the encounters with Bayley, so I think that's going to play out here. I could see maybe Kalani from NXT as well.
You brought up an interesting name. Speaking of legends, Gail Kim? Question mark. The TNA tie, the new TNA ties. It like makes a lot of sense, you know.
That would be insane. I think this is the year to do it. I think we're closer with like the relationship with TNA. Yeah, I think there's a good chance we could see Gail. Masha Slamovich is another good call.
Masha, I did that video a couple weeks ago when Shawn Michaels was like, Masha, yeah, I think we could probably see her in there. That's a good call. She had a match at the GCW show in Indianapolis, so she's out there.
Yeah. She was just recently on NXT. Something I thought about the other day, and this might be far-fetched. Do you think we see any WWE ID people in this Rumble?
I don't think so. I think they use NXT as that role, you know what I mean? Like as our development, but I don't think that they've talked about it like enough on TV to establish that's what it is, you know?
Yeah, the only person I could see that would make sense in this Rumble that's been on main event and has already wrestled on TV is Kylie. That's the only person I could think of if they want to use a WWE ID person.
And she has kind of like an Indianapolis connection too. It actually would make sense.
Midwest,
Yeah.
Black Label Pro is big in Indianapolis, right next to Chicago, hours away from Chicago. She's the only person out of WWE ID people that I could see potentially in there.
But I think what they probably have on deck, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I mean, but I would be surprised if we see Kylie. I think she makes a lot of sense.
That would be great for her.
Yeah, I think it would be a cool moment for her for sure. I'm trying to think other surprises.
Stephanie or Julia?
Maybe Stephanie.
Because which one is more recognizable to the main roster?
I mean, Stephanie, because she's been on TV and just the way they handle her signing.
Right.
But also Julia is a big name, so you could go.
She's the
way.
champ too.
Yeah.
Could potentially see all three: Julia, Stephanie, and Roxanne. I think Roxanne's the guaranteed one.
Yeah, Kalani is a good shout. I could see her. Maybe Sol Ruka if they want somebody to come in and do like the big spots.
Lola.
Yeah. Maybe Lash. I know Lash has been on main roster and stuff, so Lash kind of makes sense too.
Damn, that's unfortunate that there's no women's, because like the Tiffany and like the women's championships are nothing. Like they can't be. It's kind of unfortunate.
You have 4 belts now. You're not going to put any of those women's mid-card belts here if you're not going to put the main belts there.
Like, yeah, I thought that was the point of getting these belts.
Yeah. Of course, before we move on to the men's rumble, the other big legend surprise that other people seem to think is happening is AJ Lee. I'm not sure. If I believe that.
I don't know, Phil, because I think like I know that the people know who AJ Lee is, but do they really? Besides like her being CM Punk's wife, you know what I mean?
That's not why I didn't think she was going to be in there. I think AJ Lee in this rumble would get a massive pop. Like AJ Lee.
I don't know if the current crop of people know who AJ Lee is. She's been out of WWE for like 12 years.
Current, like for like the legends of people that came up watching this decade of wrestling, you got to think about like some of the younger people that are younger than us. They watched the Divas era. They did not watch the stuff that came before it. So I would think, of course, they know her.
I just don't know. I'm legit asking. Like, I'm not trying to diss AJ Lee or anything. I'm like, I don't know how the current crop feels about. Because I'm like, everybody keeps being like AJ Lee, but I'm like, yeah, like I want to see it. Like, I think it's great in what she represents, but I just didn't know. Like, is it hot like that for AJ Lee?
No, I think a lot of people are going to know her. Maybe like some of the more younger fans, maybe not, but no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if there's like a whole new crop of people that don't know who AJ Lee is and what she represents.
No, I think if she would get a massive pop if she showed up, especially because you're seeing more people talking about it online. Even if younger people don't know who she is, her name is being brought up so much that no, I think she definitely would get a reaction. But
I just don't think it's going to happen though.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I believe it. I think her injury stuff was pretty significant. Now the thing is, if we do see her again, I don't see her coming back and wrestling full time like Punk is doing. I do. If she does, I could see something like this where it's like, a one-off here and there. So there is a chance of it, but I don't know if I believe it. Punk did in that interview he did with Jackie Redmond say, "Oh, I can't say who I want to be in the Rumble because I'm going to get myself in trouble." Punk being a Pops guy and trying to hype people up for AJ is very funny.
The way that WWE has done with these legends, though, they have had people come in for just the Royal Rumble match and not do a run anymore. So I could see it happen. Like we've seen Michelle McCool come in and just do her thing, and then that's gone. People get so hung up on like, if AJ Lee shows up tonight, she's back. I can't wait to see her in all these feuds. And I just don't know if that's what it would be, Yeah.
I guess the only other person I could think of is this night we see Alexa Bliss return.
Oh, yeah. There was that Alexa. I was reading the article about she was also supposed to be featured recently, but they couldn't get the numbers together. I I think that one's probably more probable than a lot of them. I think she could, like, I'd put that one like 60%, 70% that we see at Alexa Bliss. They need her.
Yeah. There's a report I see that they're saying that apparently she's not in Indianapolis, but you never know.
I don't believe that shit.
I also saw that they're kind of far apart on her current deal, so I don't know. It might be still some stuff that needs to be ironed out.
Look, if they ain't sent the check, I will still be at home. So shout out to Alexa Bliss.
Of course, Nikki Bella was also on.
Oh, right.
The debut episode on Netflix, so there's a good chance we could see Nikki Bella. But that's another one. That's why I'm saying, like, bro, if Nikki's in this Rumble and we get a stare off between AJ Lee, that's gonna get a reaction, dude.
Yeah.
Huge
I forget
reaction.
that there's that whole fucking total Bellas and total Divas generation that I was removed from, so I don't know when they definitely are out here to say something. So I think Nikki Bella, if she wasn't booked, she's trying to get booked with how she was talking this week. She was like, I'm really liking what's going on there. I like to mix it up myself. So that also wouldn't be surprised. The women's Royal Rumble match might have a lot of them kind of talking about that here.
Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed the women's Rumble more than the men's, at least like 3 out of 4 of the last times. So I expect the women's Rumble to be good. I thought the women's Rumble was better last year. So we'll see. I think the men, with all the hype around the men, they got to live up to it because it was the same thing last year. They had all this hype around all of the top guys that can win it. And the final stretch of it was a bit disappointing. So I think they've got to come in and deliver a great Rumble this year.
They have better stakes, like I was saying, like with the more unpredictability, I think it's going to work for them. Because we're like, last year it's like, let's wait for Cody to win this match, essentially. Now this year it's like, people think Cena's going to win. People think Punk's going to win. People, you know what I mean? Like there's just like Roman's in this. Like there's so many more options for this to be a great match. They could get caught up in it though, Phil. They could be like, damn, we got too many elements. Now we don't know we're really to handle this, and things could happen too fast. So it's going to be interesting with how many top guys are actually going to be in it this year.
Yeah, I think it helps that you have so many great storyline going into this. You have Jay saying that, he can beat Gunther, and if he gets another chance, he's going to beat him. So that already creates this story for Jay coming in for, this underdog win for him.
Jay could win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, you've got Roman's first Rumble in 5 years. He hasn't been in the Royal Rumble match since 2020, and he went on this dominant reign of terror for 4 years. We don't know how the rest of the field is going to react to him because this guy created a lot of enemies during that time. So you don't know how those people are going to react. You got Drew in here.
Drew said, I'm coming to fuck Roman up, pretty much. He's like, I don't care about what's going on. As soon as I see that fool, it's on site.
Yeah, you got Drew in here. You've got a bunch of other people he wronged. And then you have the other bloodline guys in this. You have Jacob in it, potentially. Then you also have the guys that were on his side at Survivor Series that might not be on his side at all in this match because it's a free-for-all. Right. It's like, I'm not about to help you get your championship back and go back to the way things are. Like, the only person that might side with him in this match is Jimmy Uso. Everybody else might be like, no, get him out of here.
I love that the promo where Seth was talking to Sammy and he was like, are you going to help him win the Royal Rumble too? Like, what's up? Like, what kind of stance are you going to take in here? Is this just Roman's show?
Yeah, I think that adds a great dynamic here of he's been out of Rumble all this time, and now you're entering a field with a bunch of people that hate you. Either they hate you because you wronged them, or it's like, I couldn't get any opportunities because he was holding his belt all this time. I'm not letting this guy win. We got to get him out. He's the biggest threat to all of us.
Like, they all should team up to throw him out, like if they were real.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Seth coming into this going, I'm just going to toss everybody out. But also you have the story of the guy that's trying to win this, that has been doing all the press all week, is a guy that he hates, beat him on the debut episode on Netflix. And you've got Roman in here. He's got to be looking like, I want to play spoiler. I want to win this and make sure those two guys don't win.
Damn, who's winning this? Because I'm like, the best story to tell here is for Seth to throw out Punk, I think. Like, for his thing. Like, that's the best story. The best thing to come out of this show is him throwing Punk over the top rope. That's restitution for him. right?
If Seth helps the others throw Roman out and also throws Punk out, that's how I would book this. I think Seth should win. Seth is actually my pick to win. I don't know if I believe that, but he is my pick to win. I think there's a very, very good chance that Punk is winning, though. I just think everything they're building up. He's never won a Rumble. He's talked about how much main eventing WrestleMania means to him. But the other part of it is he has this favor in his back pocket, which kind of makes me think he's not winning. And that's part of the reason.
They've been bringing that up a lot, too.
That's part of the reason I think Seth is going to win, because I think that Seth is going to be proven right in that he is just going to go around and get his own opportunity to get a match, because that's exactly the slippery slope he got in when he sided with Roman. You're going over there with those guys that think they can do whatever they want. You're a big hypocrite. You're going to go over there with Heyman and think you can do whatever you want.
That leads me to my question then, because if the Punk favor goes through, is his favor that he wants a match with Roman?
We don't know yet. It could be anything. He could just bargain for a title match without having to win the Elimination Chamber match. Who knows?
I keep forgetting about the Elimination Chamber match too, which is another element. That's why I'm like, I don't know who could win. There's big talk. The numbers, like we talked about earlier, are John Cena going over and winning this, but that has to be like the not greatest choice for this, right? No, I don't think like that. If Cena, the issue that I have is like, you're fucking 15-time world champ or whatever. If you want a title match, you could just go out and be like, I'm fucking John Cena, come out and give me the title match. Like, you don't need, I understand what the story is, you haven't won for a long time, blah, 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 and all these things, but I just don't think that's the way to get to. I think the Elimination Chamber actually is kind of maybe be a better story for Cena, but I don't think winning here at the Royal Rumble is the way to get to it.
Yeah, they've been promoting Elimination Chamber a lot as John Cena's last hurrah and his last appearance in Toronto as a full-time wrestler. I don't think they would be promoting it that way if he didn't still need a route to WrestleMania after this. And that's kind of why I think he's going to lose. And I just think it's a better story with him coming back and saying, I don't know, guys, I've lost a lot of my last matches. I don't think I could just go and win this Royal Rumble match, but we'll give it the old college try. I think he's going to lose.
So then who's going to win this fucking thing then? Because I think that them trying to right all the wrongs of what CM Punk had previously in this new run, him winning the Royal Rumble makes a lot of fucking sense for the story. But he doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble also, though, I think is where I'm landing on. He don't need it, though.
No, of course not, but that's not going to stop them from giving him the win. If that's the route. I can see it. I'm not so sure though that he's going to actually challenge for either of the belts. I'm still not so sure this doesn't end up being the Roman match.
Yeah, I feel like it might be Seth and Gunther and then Cody and Cena. So, and then that would leave Roman and Punk together. So that's where I feel like the story is going to, but I mean, they have a bunch of options. Like they could still have Punk challenge for the world title, you know?
Yeah. My pick is Seth Rollins to win, which is on brand, but it also makes sense with the story that they've been telling since War Games. Like if he said, I don't want to side with these guys because I don't want to help this guy get power again, of course he'd come into this Rumble going, no, I'm going to kick this guy out and I'm going to get my title shot. I helped Cody win a year ago and now I'm about to walk back into SmackDown as the Royal Rumble winner. What's up? Hey Gunther, what's up?
He should. He needs it.
And if you remember, the last time Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble, I believe was 2018. Care to remember who also won the Royal Rumble that match?
Interesting.
I would not be surprised if Seth Rollins wins this Rumble, guys. But when you look at how everything has been handled, the promotion and the machine behind everything, it kind of leads me to believe that Punk is going to win because Punk has been doing all of the promotion for this. He's done multiple interviews this week. He did the Redmond interview. Then he was on ESPN also with Pat McAfee. He did 2 shows. He did 2 go home shows this week. that kind of leads me to believe that we're heading to him challenging for one of these belts at WrestleMania. The go home segments were interesting. The one on Raw, it took a long time to get going, and I first of all I was confused because Raw went to commercial, and so I thought it was over because it passed the 2 hour mark. So I thought the show was over. So I got up and left the room, and then when I came back in, Cody was still talking. I was like, okay, well, this is still going. Cody's talking. Then we hit Punk's music. Punk comes out there acting like his friend, and the whole time I was like, he's not your friend. Now, the other funny thing about this is I keep looking at this guy thinking, who is this guy? Because Punk coming out there with off-whites on, walking slowly, and he's in great shape. I was like, what is this, bro? Like, this is not the guy that I remember with the Vans or like the scruffy skater shoes. Like, this guy's got like $2,000 shoes on.
He got money.
This guy drives a G-Wagon. This is a different guy. But yeah, he came out and he warned them. There were similarities. I don't know if people caught it. If you watch both shows, there are similarities to the Hangman Punk feud and this, because the whole point that Punk was making to him when he came out is championships change you, man. It brings out elements of you that you didn't think were there. And, you know, you think you have friends around you, but now you become a target for everybody. And so I like the elements of it. It took a little bit too long to get to the point, especially at the end of the show. I think it would have hit better if it was timed better. But just that stinger of him creating this scenario of like, there's going to be one of your friends, and he's been watching the whole time, and he's been getting in the best shape of his life, and he's been doing this. And midway through, I was like, oh, he's talking about himself. Which I thought was cool. I thought once we got to the end of it and Cody's like, I'm not worried about you. I threw you out of Rumble last year. Like, this isn't before. This isn't me watching you cut one of the greatest promos of our generation, you becoming one of the biggest stars of that generation, and I was chasing you. I'm not chasing you no more. You're chasing me. I thought that was a great line.
Yeah. They like you said, it just took a little bit of time to get to, especially like when we know what you guys are getting, we know what you are doing here. Just like tell us what this is about. But yeah, it does feel like they've been settings. Like if you were just looking at it from the outside looking in, like, damn, this looks like this is CM Punk's match to win, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like they're at least trying to get us to think after last year that Cody versus Punk is a big possibility for WrestleMania. I'm not sure if I'm buying again, though. By the end of it, I was like, I don't know. This feels like a red herring. I think there's a very good chance that he could get that match, but I just keep looking at, all right, if you're not going to do Rock versus Cody, or if you're not doing Rock versus Roman, you have to get a match that is of that caliber, that's as big. And the only match on the board that is nearly as that big is Punk versus Roman. And so, and just with the way they do things, they got 1 million views on a lot of those clips during that small time period where they were interacting before War Games. There's money there. But also, we got the go home segment from last night, which I did not see that coming at all. And good on them for at least trying to make us think that there's a chance that Kevin Owens can win this match, even though I don't believe them. But Kevin Owens cutting that promo and saying everybody's looking past me, including CM Punk, and then CM Punk's music hit. If there was a fly on the wall at my face looking at the TV when this happened, I was like, Punk is there? Punk's coming out for Kevin Owens? If you know the extracurriculars between these guys, like,
there's a lot.
So, Kevin Owens being Kevin Owens, Punk comes down to the ring. Kevin Owens has this look the entire time of like, what are you doing here? You can just feel the disdain pouring out of this guy. He hasn't said a word. He's just like, what are you doing in here? Great segment. This was the way that I compared the Cody and Punk thing to Hangman and Punk in some ways. This kind of felt like Eddie Kingston Punk in some ways, of Eddie just being like, "I've never liked you." He gives a great line of, "There are other people in the Rumble that I like more than you." 29 to be exact. Great stuff. He says all these things, and he's just like, "I kind of hope that you do win the Rumble because I love the idea of kicking your ass in the main event, but also I hope you don't win. I hope you retire and die old and alone, knowing that I've main evented 2 WrestleManias and you'll never main event a WrestleMania."
Shit. Real bars too.
Yikes! And then he goes to walk away, and Punk goes, "No, I wasn't done. Hey, man, you've been making all these excuses, but you're right. You have done things I've never done. I haven't gone to Royal Rumble 5 times and lost 5 world title matches. And you're going into a world title match that people don't think you're gonna win." Kevin Owens. Yikes. Then the dagger of the whole thing, "I never lost to Logan Paul."
Tough one. Damn. Fire. Ugh. Shit. Hard to come back from.
Great segment. And afterwards, I was like, man, that was way more interesting than this Cody segment. And I was like, he just gave me a main event that now I don't think we're going to get. This is the main event I didn't know I wanted for WrestleMania. Man, if you're gonna offer me Punk Kevin Owens as the main event of WrestleMania, yeah, I'll take it. But I just don't see that happening at all.
Right. It'll take a lot for those things to align where Kevin Owens is the world champion going into that show.
Yeah,
I would love it. It would be amazing, but I just can't see it.
Yeah, just the idea of him main eventing for a 3rd time, I think that would be great. But also, what that means, and him having the main event with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and him inheriting like a lot of things from Austin, and you know what that means to Punk
who wanted that same match.
Yes, Punk cut the pipe bomb wearing a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. He wanted a Stone Cold Steve Austin match, and for Kevin Owens to be like, not only have I main evented twice, but no, I am the heir apparent to Austin here. I do the stunner. No, you took your ball and went home. Who are you?
Tough one. It's on fire.
So at this point, I still think it's the Roman match, though. And at this point, they're going to have to convince me up until this point that it's not. If he wins the Rumble, then I'm probably going to come in here next week like, guys, maybe it's not the Roman match. Because I don't see them putting the belt back on Roman before WrestleMania.
No. I came in here to say my pick was Roman Reigns, so maybe crazier things have happened. I just started thinking of everything you're saying with Toni Storm, and I was damn, when Roman Reigns comes out, the pop's gonna be fucking massive. He is a gigantic star. He is the biggest star here. Like,
yeah, but he don't need a title match to main event that show. And that's kind of why I think the Punk match is going to main event night too, because you can justify not putting the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event of one of these shows. They did it last year. So I could easily see Punk and Roman main eventing night 2, and whatever Cody's match is, main eventing night 1.
And fucking Rollins and Gunther in the opening match for the world title. That's what they do.
Wouldn't be surprised. Which also, last time Rollins won a Rumble, opening match with Brock Lesnar.
I was there.
So.
Well, yeah, my mind still says Roman for some reason. I'm like, I feel like they just can't help themselves and they're going to do it. I've seen crazier things happen, but yeah, I'm going with Roman. I'm going with Roman Reigns. I think he's going to win this match.
10 years after his Royal Rumble win, 2015. Makes sense. I just don't think he needs to win. I don't think it makes sense to give him the Royal Rumble win 0%. At this point. I don't even think there's a compelling story to him winning either. I think the more compelling story is him losing.
Nothing's good can come out of him winning. That's why I think they're going to do it. But yeah, none of the stories lead to him winning this match, and he shouldn't at all.
No,
like you said,
everything
he's
else.
past being the world champion. He could just be not past. Like he could still be world champion, but like he could tell stories without being the world champion in the main event.
Punk winning is easily more interesting. I mean, to be honest with you, Jay winning is more interesting, but I just don't see that happening. I think there are much better options all around. Boy, can you imagine? And this is again, if you're going to tease me with something I want that's never going to happen. Can you imagine if Kevin Owens wins somehow and Sami Zayn wins the Rumble? Dog. That would be so good, but I just don't see it happening, man. I don't see it.
Sammy and Kevin at the WrestleMania for the WWE Championship would be fucking crazy.
You've got so much history you can play off of. Them main eventing together, their feud in NXT. There's so much you could do with that, but I just don't see it happening.
That's a lot. That's a lofty goal. They already did the tag match main event, so I feel like that's it. But that would be amazing. You never know.
Yeah, that would be crazy. And I just think that Kevin Owens is due a good world title run.
He is. He deserves it. He's been fighting hard. And you don't want to add to like the bits that Punk was getting into. You've been to 5 of these world title matches and you never win. Like you don't want that to be what your legacy is. Is like you had all these opportunities after your initial Universal Championship win and then you never got the ball again. Like you got to get him a win before it's all said and done.
Yeah. There was a part where I said, "Oh, Punk," when he said, yeah, I never cozied up to a friend and turned on him. I was like,
It's got to be some cap in those racks. You know it. Always. At least one in there.
I didn't cozy up to a friend to get where I wanted and then turn on him after the fact. I was like, yeah.
No, a wrestler has never done that ever.
But yeah, all of this is exciting. I think the idea of Punk winning is exciting. Of course, I would love to see Rollins win. I think there's some good stories they can do with Cena winning. I don't want to see it, though.
It can't. No. It, like talk about not needing the win. Cena doesn't need the win. If they're just doing it for, and like I'm on your side too of like they're going so hard in the Elimination Chamber thing, the last hurrah. It feels like that's where they're gonna do this, but like again, sometimes they can't handle themselves. They do like accolades. They're like, hey, one last time Cena won the championship. Who doesn't like that? So it's up in there.
You got any predictions for surprises for this Rumble? I mean, I don't think
men's side it don't seem as exciting as the women's surprises.
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise at this point, but I think Joe Hendry's the big one.
Oh yeah,
I think from TNA especially, I think it's Joe Hendry.
That's number one. When they made him world champion, I was all, yeah, see you at the Rumble, brother.
Yeah, I definitely. Once they made him champion, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be in the Rumble. Show up. They're going to be able to say first TNA world champion to be in the Rumble and all that stuff. His music is going to hit. He's going to get the big pop for it. Yeah.
He's the one that I definitely see tonight.
Trying to think anybody else.
I can't think of anybody that's big that would do it. You know what I mean? Like they're telling so many stories that just like their core talent is going to be enough to drive the match.
Oh, Malachi.
Is he out already? Fully?
It sure seems like he's out. It sure seems like he was out. And they very conspicuously moved his wife to SmackDown. Out of nowhere. They made a point of announcing that she's moving to SmackDown. Malachi, I think.
Okay. That's a surprising one. What about from NXT? Who could you see? Like, you think Ethan Page will get a rub?
Yeah, I can see him pulling up, especially with the TNA crossover stuff, there's a chance of you putting him in there from TNA. I would have especially said that if Josh Alexander was still on the board. Doesn't seem like he is still with the company. He's going to be a free agent as of the 15th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the guy from TNA that I want to show up is Leon Slater, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a deep cut.
I would love it, but I don't see that happening.
But
Ace
I would expect to be in there.
Maybe Ace Austin.
Oh yeah, Ace Austin would be great. Mike Santana.
Maybe.
I
mean, with the ties to Rascals and stuff, maybe Trey Miguel.
Trey Miguel. What about the Animal Man?
I don't know, dog.
We're not at that place anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that is interesting, Ace. If Ace Austin shows up, you could potentially have a Bullet Club wrestler in a Royal.
I don't think Ace Austin's going to show up though.
Nick Nemeth, maybe. Somebody said the name in our chat. I'm just like, stop.
What name is it? Definitely not. Could you imagine if PCO was in this?
I think other legends. I don't know what AJ's status is because he had that entry last year that looked pretty bad. I don't know if he's ready to go yet. But with like the TNA crossover again, AJ would be a guy. If they did have him, that'd be a pretty big one.
Who's been out? Legends. I'm thinking.
I hope we see AJ Styles, but I don't know that he's ready to go yet.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they're just trying to stick to their core roster for most of it. I think the biggest surprises will be the TNA crossovers, but I can't think of anybody that's like out there that is going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening type deal.
I mean, the biggest one would have been The Rock, but I don't think that's happening. Do we see Bad Bunny again this year? I'm sure they want to throw that one at us. Bad Bunny
Logan
makes
Paul.
a lot of sense.
Jake Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think Logan's been pretty much announced at this point.
A UFC person?
I don't know, dog.
Triple H?
Try to think. No, he's pretty much told us he can't wrestle. Otherwise, I believe that would have happened by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Logan Paul has already been announced.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Penta's going to be in there. He hasn't been announced yet, but there's no way Penta's not going to be in this match.
What about his brother?
I don't know that he's ready yet. I don't know if he's out of his contract yet.
Yeah, he's not. That's a bit. I don't think he's going to be there. Yeah, I can't. I can't think of anybody out of the ordinary that's going to be in there.
Yeah, I told the AEW jump. I think is going to be Malachi.
Ricky Starks.
I would assume that he's still on contract. He's got indie bookings coming up, so I don't see that happening.
They're not going to lay him out on a platter like that. I wouldn't think so.
No. Yeah, it's tougher to predict on the men's side, some of the surprises. I do think we'll probably see Trick Williams. I do think we're going to get a big whoop that Trick chant, and we're probably going to get the interactions with him and Mello.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Wesley, but that's why I said there's a good chance we could see Trey Miguel because there's a way to get Wesley here too.
Oh, the Rascals. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see Wes. He's done a lot of good work for NXT over there.
Yeah. Longest reigning. Well, no, sorry, he's not the longest reigning anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's Obafemi now.
Mm-hmm. Tony D'Angelo. I could see them two in there too. Both of the champions.
Yeah, I could see Obafemi for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. I can't think of none.
Yeah, I can't think of a single legend that I think makes sense here. I know at one point they were teasing Goldberg, and there was a report that he was going to be on an episode of Raw on Netflix, and that was going to lead to him coming back in the Rumble. But because he never showed up on Raw, I don't know that I believe he's going to show up here. And then, what do you have for him after that? What's the match?
Who's he showing up to beat up at this point? Like I don't have any interest in seeing him jack up any current superstar.
Yeah, there was a little bit that they teased with Gunther, but
oh, that's right.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it. I did at one point think he was going to be in the Rumble, but now because he hasn't showed up on anything, I'm not as sure.
I mean, he could be the legend though that's in there, but I don't see him winning it.
Yeah. McAfee.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I think there's a good chance we see McAfee.
That sucks. JBL. He's been everywhere. That could be the legend. JBL. Yeah, JBL's been all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to think with John Cena in there. There's got to be a big legend that makes sense to be in there with John. But all of the guys that I can think of, like Copa's not there anymore.
Orton already returned?
No, he's still out from the Kevin Owens injury.
Oh, he back.
Maybe we see Orton.
Sure.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to think if this is John Cena's last Rumble, you got to assume there's going to be people in this Rumble that he's had like long-term feuds with that he's going to interact with. And like I said, Cope is a big one for him. That's one of his biggest rivals. He's not there anymore. Not sure if it'll be Orton.
I mean, Orton's the biggest right there currently that they can do.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess the biggest stare down that you're going to get out of this is Punk Cena in this thing, but which that's going to get a great response. But that's why I keep trying to think legend. You kind of run out of legend from the Attitude Era. That's why I'm thinking like Ruthless Aggression Era. Who is anybody I could think that would make sense?
RVD?
I would love to see RVD.
I'm trying to think of like who Cena had like big moments with. I mean, the tail end is Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens has a match.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna. I was about to say Rusev is a big one. I think we're gonna see Miro. Rusev is a big one for Cena because they had that WrestleMania match. Yeah. No, that's it. Like I said, we are not gonna see Brock.
No.
But yeah, I hope it's AJ Styles. That's the other person I can think of. Of course, they had their feud. I hope we see AJ Styles.
Yeah, if AJ is ready to go, he needs to be in this match tonight for sure.
Yeah. Maybe Hardy's?
TNA. Jeff at least.
Yeah, I could see getting a Hardy's.
Makes a lot of sense.
Hardy's makes sense. I actually think Hardy's make more sense than Nick Nemeth.
They do. It does. I don't know if we'll see Nick, honestly.
Hey, yo, Nick.
The Nick.
Yeah, that's Royal Rumble. I don't think it's four match card.
Mm-hmm.
Should be a fun night of wrestling. Again, tune in to watch me and Iridian tonight hosting the post show on this very YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm still trying to think of anybody else. I've seen a lot of people say Cardona in our chat as well. Maybe.
I could see it. That could happen.
Whoa.
That'd be good for him. He's working hard to get that.
Radio.
We got a few super chats, and I think we're out of here. Hey, what's over there says Okada versus Buddy at Grand Slam is all I need. Speaking of Dynamite, Hangman looking for Swerve after retiring Christopher Daniels, as well as running into the devil of AEW is a great AEW is a great story beat.
Yes, I loved it. I thought that was my favorite moment from Dynamite this week.
Like, such a little tiny moment could have so much impact and tell like 4 or 5 different stories. That was a great little segment. Appreciate that general super chat. Hey, what's over there? Another one right after that too from Hey, what's over there is also the dynamic of a guy that at his best when he is hated by the fans and MJF versus Hangman, who is at his best when the fans are fully behind him, is interesting.
Yep, day one guys.
Right.
They've gone in completely different directions. Yeah, can't wait for that feud.
It's a great dynamic. It's going to be a great story that they tell there with those two guys. And then our homie Aaron Busby with our last super chat of the day, and of course, wild super chat of the day, says, okay, y'all right. Triple H is the Diddy pause of WWE. Unlike his father-in-law, this dude can't help but be all in the videos.
Can't help it. I mean, making Diddy references today is kind of.
It's a fine line, Mr. Busby, a fine line. But, we know you like to walk that fine line. But, yeah, he's all up in it. It's way different. Like, he don't play the background at all. He's the front and center.
This guy did not walk no fine lines. He be jumping over the line. I've seen some of your tweets, dog.
Way over the line. Like, you are a part of, like, one of the greatest hip-hop battles of all time. Like, you play a part in that. Like, that's
habitual line stepper. I've seen you step over the line several times.
Continuously. Appreciate you, Busby. Thank you for submitting. You're a dope homie. Always appreciate the support.
Yeah. A-Shock said, are we getting Reg entering the Rumble? Yo, the way that would be hilarious. We're all 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then Brick Phone comes on.
I just come out and I'm just like, yeah, a trick draw. I'm actually in Indianapolis right now. This is a fake background. I produced my same background for my house to trick y'all. I'm in the Rumble. I'm number 30. Right next to, right before AJ. I'm actually number 29 and number 30 is AJ Francis.
Yeah, implications of that would be pretty funny in a lot of ways.
Yeah, probably not.
No. The implications of this would be very, very funny. But yeah, that's all we got. That is our Royal Rumble preview. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy some more wrestling tonight. We got Collision tonight. We have Royal Rumble. I've got a busy day of stuff today and tomorrow. But as always, appreciate you guys tuning in here. Again, appreciate everybody who has subscribed to our YouTube channel. Growing way faster than I thought. Support has been awesome. Please continue to support us. YouTube.com/@Grapsody. I've seen people asking, because we started the channel, does this mean we're leaving Fightful? It's not the plan to leave Fightful. It's just a place to have supplementary content. Gonna have some original content over there eventually.
Yes, sir.
Of course, join our Discord. I don't have the link in front of me. Was not prepared for that, Tyrone. Putting me on the spot. Plug the Discord. I don't have the link in front of me, Tyrone. Come on.
You can get it. You can find it. You know where to find it.
Yeah. It's on our Twitter somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. It's out there.
But yeah, this is Big Grapsody. I appreciate you guys as always. I'm Phil Lindsay, Righteous Reg. We are out of here.